Alexis here, coming to you with an awesome sale of 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com. I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity, getting 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Who. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. I'm waiting for Brandon. Where the hell are you at, Brandon? Brandon, put the collard green sandwich down. All right, Brandon, put the collard green sandwich down. I know you're eating a collard green sandwich right now. So put it down, Brandon. Put it down. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you share as well. Again, please share. All right, please like and please subscribe. Also, the banner down there, right there, going across the screen, okay? Going across the screen. Hit that Patreon, hit that Cash App. Shout out to everybody who's been Cash Apping, the $10 hollers, the $5 hollers. I appreciate it. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for the support. Let me make sure I got the right. Oh, let me fix the mic. Hold on. Let me fix the mic. All right, there we go. We got the right mic on. There we go. We got the right mic. Sorry about that. Hit it up. Shout out to Ruby. First, a comment in the chat room. Let me call Brandon real quick.
What's up, Dynasty?
Brandon, put the collard green sandwich down. You live. We waiting on you.
Oh, shoot. Man, you know why when you talk about 2 o'clock, I was thinking about 2 o'clock my time.
Nah, Eastern Standard Time. What's that, EST?
Man, you know when you live in California, don't know that shit mean nothing.
Oh, okay.
You know we in the planet California. This the only place on Earth.
Okay, right.
Okay, I'm getting on through my laptop right now.
All right, cool. All right, bye. All right, well, here comes Brandon. Let's get through these announcements. Hey, new sub from the UK. Glad to have found you. Zara B. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family, Zara B. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, because you could be somewhere else, but instead you are rocking with us. Hold on, you guys want to look at Makita? Hold on 1 second. Let me open this up. Let me open my little pocket door. All right, there goes Makita right there. All right, there goes Makita. There she goes. There we go. So we'll scoot to the side. You could look at Makita right there in the back. All right, there we go. All right, so announcements. Announcement number 1, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. November 21st to the 30th. November 21st to the 30th, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. Let me open this one up too to give some continuity. Okay, whatever. We'll get that later. All right, citizenship is available to those who qualify. Even if you're not eligible for citizenship, if you still want to come enroll and have an excellent time, you are more than welcome to come to Sierra Leone with us and have a great time, family. We will love to have you in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a beautiful country. Please visit Danfo, Danfo, .africa to learn more. Again, please visit Danfo, .africa to learn more. Is there a monetary qualifications? No, citizenship. You have your if you have your DNA paperwork from African ancestry that links back to Sierra Leone, you are eligible for citizenship. Shout out to Hassan. Peace to the chat from the UK. We got UK family here deep. Listen, I still need to visit the UK. You know me, I go straight to Africa. And if I go to Europe, I prefer Southern Europe, even though I've only been in Portugal for long extended layovers, like overnight layovers. But I am a fan of Portugal. I'm not England and Amsterdam and Brussels. It gets too cold. It gets too cold. It gets too cold. So I'm more of a Spain, Portugal type of guy. Shout out to Bucci Badass, who's entered the chat. I see he finished his collard green sandwich. Bucci Badass, y'all. So please go to downfall.africa. We are also going to Benin Republic for the Voodoo Festival in January. We are then going to Senegal for the Jazz Festival in May. And then we will be back in Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. So if you're interested in joining us for any of these events, you're going to come travel, have a good time, go to donfo.africa. Without further ado, today's topic. We see what's going on in Israel right now with the skirmish. Oh, no, it's a war now. And people continue to bring up or inject into the conversation, the war conversation, religion, prophecies, Ibrahim, the tribes of Judah. So the question is, like, what happens if the prophecies are all wrong? Like, what's next? Say they just blow up everything in that part of the world. Everything just gets blown up. Like, what happens? Like, what's next? So I'm gonna bring on Brother Uri, Brother Ashaf, and then we got Bucci Badass, also known as Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, also known as Brandon, who's putting shea butter on his face right now. Or Jergens. He from Cali. They don't use shea butter. They use Jergens. They use Jergens. That's what they use. We'll bring these brothers up right now. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Dynast.
What's good?
It's all good. You can hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Asaf, shalom. Brandon, what's going on?
Give Brandon a shalom. Give Brandon a shalom.
Hey,
Shalom
I ain't want to offend Brandon with the shalom. Oh, man.
All right, so listen, we gonna jump right into it. All right, and listen, we're gonna be civil today, Brandon. We're gonna be civil. There you go. Thank you, Brandon. We're gonna be civil today. Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into it. So, what happens? In fact, okay, you're right. Let's start with this.
Yes, sir.
Let's get your take on like what is the actual prophecy? Like, is Jesus coming back? Like what's the prophecy? Go ahead, and you can introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Well, again, shalom to the audience. Shalom to you, Dynast, Alafia. It's always good to be in the presence of. We could be talking about anything, man. I mean, it's all kind of craziness on the internet. So the fact that we can sit and come together as brothers, even with different ideologies, etc., cultural backgrounds, etc. The fact that we can come together and have this type of conversation is just beautiful in itself. And so always want to give that, first and foremost, and always giving credence unto the God of creation. And again, all to the viewing audience. As it relates to your particular question, I mean, there's many prophecies, but as it relates to one of the ones that are some of the ones that are unfolding right now is, well, on the world scene, you have the earth needing to get back into reset on a global basis. The earth has to reset. Okay. However that may look, people internalize it from a religious perspective in many different ways. But really what's happening is the earth has to reset itself. Okay. And in that region, which they will call the Mediterranean, the Middle Terrain, and or the Middle East, that region has always been in antiquity and all throughout history a place where people of dynasties would attempt to impose their will on that particular region to gain dominance. And so that's what you're seeing that is happening right now, a lot of which we understand is things that have been scripted for a very long time from their perspective and their world, and things that they're trying to accomplish for a greater good. It's never surface level. We can't view it as surface level. And you also have around the world, and coming, we talked about this before, Dynas, but and coming to a place near you, globalization versus nationalism. Those who are in favor of globalism and are trying to, have the world, in particular one world government, and then those who are trying to maintain national borders. And nations, all nations, especially strong nations that are not tied into the global world order, are a threat. And so now there's an all-out war, and proxy wars will be fought out in order for the greater goal to be achieved. That's just the general. As it relates to the prophetic understanding, so the way that the scriptures are written, oftentimes men have an agenda. Nations have an agenda. And in that agenda, they may have one agenda, but the creator that's mentioned in the Bible has another. So it may look one way to the carnal eye, but the creator's will be imposed to then create again another reality on the face of the earth, and then that's what we'll be like. We can be able to see. Okay, all right. So the question was, is what if the prophecies are not? What if they, it all blows up, et cetera, et cetera? Then at least I think a lot of people would be freed from a false ideology if it's false. So truth is verifiable and it's identifiable. So we are in a gray era where all of that is about to be exposed. And what is happening at this particular time, sorry, I got a call and got knocked out. What is happening at this particular time is, that particular region is being restored. It's going to have to be restored back to the original people of that land. And this is a cleansing. It's a cleansing that has to take place. And this is what, in our perspective, this is what is happening. So that's a long story to a answer, that you basically gave. And Asaf, if you want to add to that, anything that I mentioned. I can't hear you.
You can't hear you.
Still the audio.
Can't hear you. Why you get that together, Asaf? Let's pass it to Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, so if you guys can all hear me,
We hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
my whole assertion is the fact that I've actually read the Bible. I'm a Bible reader. Well, I was a Bible reader and I studied the Bible for many, many years. I was forced to do it as a kid, And when you look at the curses that the Hebrew Israelites bring up in Deuteronomy chapter 28, specifically the curses that talk about how the Lord thy God will bring the nations around you up against you, and they'll siege your cities and they'll basically defeat you. I just feel like the way we can all know whether or not that's talking about them or the white Jews is by looking at what's happening today. If one were to come from a biblical perspective, one could easily argue that the prophecies themselves are being fulfilled. If you look at the nation of Israel as a whole, they have totally rejected the laws and commandments of the Most High. They're involved in all types of debauchery. They're involved in all types of LGBTQ stuff. They out here they fornicating with the nations, as the Bible says, roundabout, and they're not putting their faith in the Most High. But violating the commandments is not a disqualifier of your chosenness in this instant. As a matter of fact, violation of the commandments and the resulting curses is actually a validator of your position as the chosen people. And if I have to look at what group of people in our day is actually looking like those curses is coming up against them, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Israel. I'm looking at how the nations around them are rising up against them, and it ain't looking good. I'm looking at the things that they've chosen to do, where they've chosen secularism over theocracy. And I'm just saying, man, you guys ain't looking like the chosen Negroes from where I'm sitting. They're looking more chosen than you in the works that they do, building hospitals and all that stuff, and all this stuff they're doing in the name of the Most High. And they're looking more chosen than you in the calamities that are befalling them due to their rejection of the Most High. I mean, I see Hebrew Israelites in the park drinking wine, breaking Caesar's law. The Bible says give Caesar's things to Caesar every day. But I don't necessarily see them being cursed in line with what the Bible says, the way I'm seeing the nation of Israel over there being cursed.
Ashraf, we still can't hear. We still can't hear. Ashraf, do this. Leave and come back. Ashraf, exit and then come back because we can't hear you still. We still can't hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brendan. So you brought up some very good points, and that's why I wanted to, come back and actually speak to you in a different, setting. That wasn't necessarily the last time. Wasn't a necessarily setting, for that. But I wanted to come back and talk to you because you bring some good points, and I love the fact that a lot of people who talk about this never read the scriptures or don't have no context to it. So being able to talk to you allows us to be able to go into some deep things and then get some understanding and learning about said things that you have to mention, etc. So, with that being said, there's a couple different things as it relates to what you said. Well, there's many curses mentioned all throughout the scriptures and the prophecies as it relates to, what is going to come. We understand when you said you brought up Deuteronomy 28. Now, do you agree that Deuteronomy 28, if you remember from remembering, that absolutely fits the Black American experience? The 400 years going into captivity, the slavery. There's no other people that can claim that. What would you say to that? Is my question to you.
I would say that the crux of the entire thing is that you have a nation. And I don't see any clear definitions of nations when you talk about the Black Hebrew Israelite experience being taken as slaves from the western coast of Africa. Those were not nations. Those were just kingdoms. When we're looking at the nation of Israel, that is a nation that falls all the way under the worship of the Most High. It was not speaking about a nation of people that were in the midst of another nation. It was speaking about once I deliver you your promised land, if you do not follow through with what I'm telling you, this is what I'm going to do to you. See, a lot of us don't really like to accept the fact that when the Most High is talking to the Israelites in the desert, when he's giving them these commandments, he's not talking about them being in the desert. He's telling them what will happen in the future once he delivers the nation to them if they violate his commandments. Because in the desert, they were already surrounded by nations and there was nothing to defend because they were wandering. They were nomadic. So he's like, once I give you this car, once I give you this house, if you mess around, I'm going to bring them up against you and they're going to scatter you out. That was not the case of the Hebrew Israelites on the west coast of Africa. They were, because I don't believe that either, but let's just play along. Even if they were a remnant living among the tribes of West Africa, they still did not have their own nation. They still were in the midst of a ton of pagans. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of distorted, but you good. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, again, Prince, appreciate you for having us on.
No problem.
It's a pleasure. And to my brother Bucci, Brandon. Listen, man, we have this conversation constantly, in the midst of the conscious community and those who are debating biblical theologies, Hebraic cosmology, etc. But one term I want to interject into this dialogue from my perspective is contextual conceptualization. Making sure that we have a full understanding of these concepts within all of its historical, prophetic, and contemporary context, right? So when you mentioned, and again, I dropped out of the call, so I don't really know exactly what Uriah mentioned, but as it pertains to the curses, when you look at it from the Hebraic understanding and you read the Torah, and I don't know what your, how versed you are in the language, but to study Hebrew and to understand the past as it relates to the table of nations and the peoples, the prophecies pertaining to Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26, and the downfall of the nation of Israel is completely contextualized within the historical experience of those that were, cast out of the land in 70 AD, migrated throughout the continent of Africa, Sub-Saharan, North Saharan, South Africa, and also those who were taken away into the transatlantic slave trade. So when you put everything in total context, number one, it pertains to an entire nation and downfall of a civilization of people. The historical reality of those who we find in modern day Israel, because again, there's 102 nationalities, but you know the specific group we're referring to, their history also shows the origin story, so to speak, of to how their reality in that land came to be. So when you contrast the historical dynamics of both groups along with you juxtapose that against the prophecies, it's very clear to see that many of those who were taken away into the transatlantic slave trade and those throughout the diaspora today are directly the descendants of those who were spoken of in Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus 26. Because again, a certain group never went into captivity on slave ships. They never, when a certain persecution came upon a group of people, they were in a land in whose language they spoke. The scriptures say you'll be brought into another nation from one end of the earth to the other by a captive whose tongue you don't understand, who would not show regard to the young, the old. And we can go into all of the nuances of that particular prophetic reference, but I'm just telling you, my brother, historically, biblically, your position is incorrect. It does directly pertain to those of us of African Edenic descent who suffered the persecutions during that time period, 14th, 15th, 16th century and on.
I think that the assertion that it's talking about African Americans is ignorant of the fact that a lot of these prophecies that were given were actually fulfilled long before the transatlantic slave trade. The Babylonians came in and conquered Israel for their disobedience.
But again, historically, all of these captivities, the Assyrians, Babylonians, Medo-Persians, the Greeks, Romans, they did in fact, because it was 6 captivities listed in the scriptures. All of that pertained to an African people. See, we're taking it out of account. We're thinking that, well, this is Europe. No, Africa and Israel that's like saying Texas is not in the United States. I'm not from the United States. I'm from Texas. Texas is in the United States. Israel has always historically been in Africa. Majority of the people who populate that area today look like me, look like you. This has always been. So again, where did all of the Europeans come from?
When you look at the prophecies, like you said, I'm a person who reads. I read the whole thing. The 10-tribe kingdom of the north, they were assimilated into the nations round about, fell into the worship of false idols. Assimilated means you are absorbed in. So that group of Israelites never, where are they at? Where are they? It's easy to just say, hey, yo, this applies to us because we went through X, Y, Z. The mere fact that the conquering of Israel and Israel being assimilated into nations over and over and over again, just the fact that that actually happened points to the fact that those original Israelites were ultimately lost among the nations. Because you're telling me that a group of people can continuously be conquered for thousands of years, assimilated, stay within the societies of these larger nations, and that group is going to be perfectly preserved, Dynast. Even with us being in America for a little over 200 or 300 years,
yeah,
we see the effects of interracial marriage, interracial breeding, all this stuff.
Yes.
This only happened to us once, Dynas, and we already looking at all the light skins and racially ambiguous. Look at South Africa. Now, Dynas, take this same thing and let it happen 5, 6, 7 times. There is no way in hell you gonna tell me that that group of people was perfectly preserved to the point that you could say they were the only ones carefully selected from the west coast of Africa and taken to America, and the rest of them people was Hamites. This is scientifically impossible.
Before you chime, Brandon, one point. Listen, okay, so you made several points. Number one, I'm not saying that the children of Israel, the nation of Israel, as it pertains to whether they're African, black or white, that's not the argument. What I'm saying is, you have the continuity of genetic migration and cultural, ethnic migration throughout history, that assimilation has occurred around the world. That does not make a group of people indistinct from who they are in terms of their heritage, their culture, their identity. I'm agreeing with you. Even when you read the biblical text, you see you got Jacob, Mary, Leah, Rachel. You see this constant, amalgamation of the people, even when you talk about the mixed multitude leaving out of Kemet. That's not the point I was discussing. That's not what I was arguing. What I'm saying to you is, and you said, well, they didn't carefully select. Yes, they did. We got historical records again. Listen, we can go there. We have historical documents again. When you go to Ghana, there are records of what tribes and what groups of people that were taken captive. That's how we have a lot of the movies and documentaries we have today. For the sake of time, we've got documents we can go through. And there is historical record.
And you have those same tribes existing in the western coast of Africa that are not claiming any Hebrew lineage. No. Dynas, you're on the west coast of Africa. He says they have a list of the tribes specifically that was taken. And if I go to Ghana or the coast right now, those tribes will not be talking about no damn Hebrew. They will be like, this is our tribe, this is our custom, all this stuff. So you're not going to tell me, oh, look, there's a record of the tribes that they took from, and when they came to America, we all realized we was Israelites. That's the funny business when you start talking about tribes. You can't say you came from a tribe from the west coast of Africa, then say the whole tribe in Africa lying, and really y'all just servants of the Most High Israelites.
I didn't say that.
That's essentially what you implied.
There are European slave records during that period of time. It was a business deal in which group of peoples were taken during the transatlantic slave trade at different points. Remember, we're taking a very large equation and we summarize it and we generalize it. But what I'm saying is, when you get down to the actual data and the actual statistics and the actual information that's presented, the transatlantic slave trade was not a reckless endeavor that didn't have records involved.
Listen, the tribes that you're talking about are still there today. A person can travel there, learn the history. They can learn the history of the tribe. You can go learn with the Ashantis, the Dahomies, whatever. Learn about their history. And until they touch that Bible, not a single one of them tribes was talking about burning bushes, worshiping the Most High, slaughtering the lamb with the entrails laid over the altar, or none of that. This is a recent advent, and the proof of it is those tribes were not considered designated nations. Like the nation of Israel was like a distinct nation. It wasn't a nation that was in the midst of a bunch of other nations. That was the whole point of the Most High delivering you the promised land. And he said, once you get in the promised land, if you mess around, I'm going to have nations come against you. And those nations did. The Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, the Fatimids, the Turks, the Crusaders, the Egyptians, the Mamelukes, the Islamists, and many more. These people basically got hold, bruh. And they got mixed all up with all these nations, and they got absorbed. And now you're telling me that there was a perfect little chocolate remnant that was perfectly preserved on the west coast of Africa. That doesn't make sense. It defies logic.
Listen. You keep saying it's perfect chocolate. You have to recontextualize history. All those people were African. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, that's black people. There's no white people in that equation at all historically.
So how
The
did
Babylonians were not white. The Persians were not white.
the Babylonians were white? They're still existing in Detroit today. They're called Chaldeans.
No.
They're there.
No.
All right. No. So
That whole region was black people.
nobody lighter than a brown paper bag existed anywhere
The
in
Eurocentric
any of
world
those
policy
places.
did
Come
not
on,
emerge
man.
as it pertains to the biblical context until the Greeks during the Hellenistic period.
The Bible even says that David was ruddy, bro. That's in the Torah. It says he was a
Ready?
redhead.
You talking about ready?
Yeah, he was a redhead. He was a redhead. Ruddy literally means redhead.
So he was a redhead. He was a redhead. He was a redhead father who gave birth to a black, quote unquote, king Solomon with black bushy locks.
Are Syrians black? Are Syrians black?
Yes. Yes.
Jacob's dad was a Syrian. Abraham was a Babylonian. He was a Chaldean. Guys, your only thing is to say the only thing. Okay.
Well, even when you go and understand, you brought up the Midianites the other day. The Midianites, that is a fact. They come from, even from the European perspective of the curse of Ham, quote unquote. The Midianites came from Ham. Many of them were Hamitic, which we know, we already agreed that the Hamitic descendants were black. But what they don't understand is that all of Noah's children were black. That whole region was black.
So the Romans were black. The Romans were black. The Greeks were black.
The Romans not in that region.
The Mamelukes were black. Well, all these people conquered Israel for hundreds of years.
You're making two different points. We're talking about the surrounding areas in that particular region. All those people were black people. Period.
Okay, man. That's a tough one.
When you can get that's why we came here. That's why we want to talk, because when you contextualize all of this, then it starts to make sense. But they changed. This is why it's never peace in those lands, because all of those people were replaced with the mixed in with the Euro Gentiles, as you said, assimilated, and that's how we came to the aspect of Arab, the whole Arab nations.
The thing is,
but when you look at Egypt right now. You know now, we all agree. We know that ancient Egypt was black. We know that.
Ancient, not all ancient Egyptians were black. There was a lot of there was a lot of mixture in there.
That's fine. We're not saying, listen, it was a developed society. Developed societies have mixed people to come in and out. That's not what we're saying.
They even had pharaohs who were not black, that were mixed, heavily admixed.
Okay, maybe, but listen, the ruling class, we know that they came and traveled from Nubia. Come on now, that's common knowledge. These were black people.
The Nubians were black.
That's what I'm saying. But the ancient Egyptians were descendants of the Nubians. They traveled to that particular region. So now, with that being said, what I'm saying is that it wasn't just the Egyptians that were black, and you see what happened to Egypt. So what happened to Egypt happened to that whole region. That's what we're explaining to you. When you got that contextualized, this is why the Israelites, when the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, we were all black. That's why they fled south and west, going into different various parts of Africa. It ain't that we got intact, this little perfectly group of people. We got mixed in. And of course, other African people were also taken in the transatlantic slave trade. They just got caught up into that aspect, but we were indentured servants in those lands because we were not native to that particular region of the land. So when the Europeans came and said, we need people, we got resources, they said, okay, cool. But they weren't looking at it like, I know other Israelites may be like, well, the African soul. It wasn't like that. It was like, hey, look, we got some people, indentured servants. You got some resources, we'll sell. So then that's how it was easy, because we were not native to that particular land. I'm not saying.
I got to interject. That's not true. So I'll give you an example with the Home.
Yep. I'm listening.
The Home, they were at war with Oyo. So what the Home would do, what Oyo would do, what the Home would do when they fought against Oyo, they would take captives, prisoners of war, and they would sell them to the Europeans. But it had nothing to do with them being Hebrew. They were Yoruba, or they were foreign.
I didn't say. I just said other people have history of that particular time, and how they got caught up as relate to the transatlantic slave trade. I'm not saying that's what the misconception is. You think we're saying everybody African Americans are all? No, we're saying within that group of the many different tribes that were taken, one of the tribes were from ancient Israel. That's all we're saying. It's just some of the people that were taken. A large amount of the people that were taken from that particular region.
Okay, I want to go to the scriptures because that's where all this stuff is rooted in. And I'm going to show to the audience because they don't know. We know. They don't know. I'm going to show how you know that this whole Jewish stuff, Israel stuff, is something that has always been a racially inclusive thing. There are people from all over different races in this stuff. It's not something that's distinctly black or anything like that. This is at the celebration of Pentecost, and it says right here, Acts 2, verses 2 through 7. It says, when the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly a sound like a blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. And all of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began speaking in tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Now there were staying in Jerusalem God-fearing Jews from every nation under the heaven. When they heard this sound, a crowd came together in bewilderment. Keep in mind that every nation under the heaven, Dynas, that's all the nations under the heaven. It didn't just say in a certain region. It said when they heard this sound, a crowd came together in bewilderment. Mind you, this is also during the Roman occupation of Jerusalem, of Jerusalem. It said, when they heard this sound, a crowd came together in bewilderment because each one heard their own language being spoken. Utterly amazed, they asked, aren't all these who are speaking Galileans? Then how is it that each of us hears them in our native tongue? Parthians, Medes, Elamites, residents of Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, parts of Libya, Cyrene, visitors from Rome, Cretans, Arabs. Every nation had Jews at that point worshiping the Most High. And what you're trying to tell me is of all those Jews, the little Negroes were specifically handpicked, and sent through a certain experience, which makes them Brandon, the true Jews of today. Come on.
Brandon, contextual conceptualization. First of all, put all this in context. Pentecost,
I thought I just did that.
No, you didn't, brother. Let me explain. First of all, what you're reading right now in the book of Acts is post the first exile. So again, the scene is the state of Israel with the majority of the 10 tribes, black tribes. Stop saying Jewish, black Hebrew Israelites, because there's Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew Ishmaelites, Hebrew Edomites, etc. Anybody through the lineage of Abraham is, as a precursor, designated as Hebrew, simply meaning from the one who has crossed over. Abraham crossed over Ur Chaldeans. He was the father of many nations, including the Edomites and Ishmaelites. They are also Hebrew. The Israelites who lived in that region, the state of Israel, the land of Israel, under the monarch, King David, all the way down, those 12 African black tribes that look like the four brothers on this panel, they were in exile, majority of the northern tribes at this point in this reference. 3 times a year, according to the Torah, the males are supposed to appear. Chag Hamatzot, Sukkot at the end of the year, and in the middle of the year, Shavuot. Shavuot is done, you observe 7 weeks. 7 times 7 is 49. So every Shabbat you count one holy day cycle, one counting of the Omer, and on the 49th day, the following day, which means 50, Pentecost is a Greek word meaning 50. So on the 50th day of that Hebraic holy day, which they're referring to here, the second time in the year where all the African Hebrew males, Israelite males, are supposed to show up to Jerusalem, they came from their diasporic reality back to Jerusalem, speaking in the tongues of the countries they went to. For instance, if my son, who's 22, moved and went study abroad in Spain for 2 years, and then he returned back to the United States during the day of Pentecost, for instance, for the sake of the conversation, and we're at our COG, our Holy Day celebration, and he start worshiping the Most High using the Spanish tongue, that doesn't mean he's a Spaniard. So what I'm saying is this whole reference you just gave is out of context. You got to explain it within the context of the historical and biblical continuity.
I'm trying to explain it in the context. I'm going to share this map of the Levant region and show you essentially that every single nation that ever Egypt, whether they won, lost, conquered it, including Egypt, has to come past Israel to reach Egypt. So
Yes.
for a long time, Israel was a proxy of Egypt. And when Egypt was,
you didn't address what I just. Pentecost is Shavuot. It's a biblical Hebraic high holy day, in which all of the males, whether you in diaspora or not, must return to Jerusalem to worship the Most High. You didn't acknowledge that. Before we just move on, you got to stop and say, okay, well, what is Pentecost? Pentecost is the Greek word that supplanted Shavuot, which means 50th day, 7 weeks.
What I'm clearly saying is when the Hebrews, the Jews, because when the Romans interacted with them, they just called them the Jews.
No, they did not.
Okay.
They called it Judaism.
Let Brandon finish, because I be getting on Brandon when he cut people off. Let Brandon finish. Let Brandon finish. Please, go ahead.
We can go to any passage in the Bible. Who is this man they're calling is the king of the Jews? The Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. They did not refer to you guys as Israelites or nothing like that. You were Jews. There were Jews of many different nationalities who all descended upon Jerusalem, because that was their holy land, during Pentecost. When there were many, just like now, who were Jews from other countries who went back and lived in Jerusalem because that was the Holy Land. Just like Benin's people left America, and they left Chicago and Atlanta or wherever they came from, and they went over to Israel, to Jerusalem, because that is their Holy Land. This is not something new. This has always been going on. So at the time, 70 CE, when the Romans surrounded Jerusalem, just before the Jews were scattered into all the nations, there were Jews of many different nationalities, ethnicities, races, tongues, all that, dwelling in Jerusalem. So when you talk about them being scattered and then somehow they wound up on the west coast of Africa, this is intellectually dishonest, because those Jewish worshipers of the Most High went into all different nations all over the earth. And just because one group, and I'm playing along here, not saying this is the case, just because one group had a certain experience didn't disqualify the other Jews from that experience, because different groups of Jews experienced that same thing at different times. There were Jews in the first century who experienced those curses. There were Jews in the ancient days prior to Jesus, way back in the days of Joshua or following Joshua and Moses, who experienced being taken captive, being put on ships. Let's not forget the ships sit right on the Mediterranean Sea. So I'm sure many slaves got put on ships right out of there when Jerusalem was conquered by whoever took them, Romans, whatever, Egypt, great navy, naval force. So you're trying to disqualify everybody and make yourself the chosen based on an experience that many Jewish people had at different times, even till today.
Brandon, to you, obviously, you've read, you're intelligent, you have some key points that you make in certain particular areas. But Brandon, that would be a myth to even look at it in today's time. America, there's so many different ethnic groups in America, but the dominant ethnic group that rules America. These are Euro Gentiles. When you go to Saudi Arabia, you got different people. You got Africans in Saudi Arabia, but we understand that the Arabs, that is their land. What we're explaining to you, whether you are saying whether that is true or not, whether we've had different people that seen the culture and was like, hey, I'm rocking with that culture. I like that culture. What we're explaining, the fact of the matter is not only the Israelites, but that whole region were black African people were the dominant society that ruled over that land. So what you saying, if it was 5 or 10 or 15 Indian Jews and some European Jews, but this fantasy of thinking this is a nation of people with so many different races just going in and we just all kumbaya, that don't even exist in today's time, when the borders are a lot easier to get to. When you go to China, there's all kind of people in China, but you know who rule the Chinese. So this is what we're explaining to you as it relates to the nation of Israel, but also in the surrounding nations around. Also, no, sir, you got to be corrected. Now we here, and I hope this conversation is based in truth. No, we were not called Jews. Number one, the first reason why is because there's no J in the Hebraic alphabet. So they didn't call us Jews. We didn't call ourselves Jews. Okay, so the Yehuda was the tribe of Judah, but it was only one tribe. So you didn't call the whole nation Yehuda or Yehudim. You called them Israelites because we were the tribe and we were the nation of Israel that was separated into 12 different tribes. But the dominant race and ethnic group of those tribes were black African people. So then that's how we were able to easily assimilate into various parts of Africa. You also said something else earlier that was not true. There are so many remnants. There's European scholars and Jews who dedicated their whole careers just to studying the different tribes that have been practicing Hebraic customs for thousands and thousands of years. That's whole careers and dedicated to just that particular studies alone, way before a Bible ever even got there. This is their history. So they keep that under wraps because then it will reveal, oh, by the way, the Limba tribe. So for anybody who wants to know, truth is verifiable. The Limba tribe, they took the Limba tribe out of the southern parts of Africa, and they said, okay, well, y'all are claiming to be, from the ancient Israelites. They did a DNA test and proved that, in fact, the Limba tribe of that particular region had the bloodline of the Levites. That's proven, a proven fact. So what I'm explaining is that, again, the dominant society, you can look at an ancient map. Somebody put it into the comment section. You can look at ancient maps of Africa, different maps of Africa in different various times, where a large region of the West Africa was called Judea. Okay, but again, it wouldn't be Judea, it would be Yehuda, right? Or always with the Y, because there's no J in a particular Hebraic language. So I'm just putting context to what you're saying, and we can't fantasize, and mythicize this. This is the reality.
I'm not fantasizing anything. I know for a fact the Limba tribe stuff has been debunked over and over and over. Some of the Limba tribesmen actually married Israeli people and were dwelling in that place on the outskirts of the villages and stuff, and began to claim Semitic lineage. And they did the test, and they were determined not to have any Semite blood in them. And they started talking about the coax gene or something like that, which, how do you have a gene for a religion? You don't. And
it's not a religion, it's a people.
Yeah, but when you have a group of people that have been assimilated into so many different nations over the decades, how do they have a distinct genetic marker? It doesn't even make sense.
Bucci, can I answer him real quick?
The same thing as relates to this, Brendan, and I'll let you go, brother. The same thing as relates to this, brother. I lived in Belize for 2 years. They have what you would call, it's a kind of derogatory term of Coolie or East Indians. These are people who came from India, who's been in the Caribbean for many, many, many years, but they still have their culture. You can tell they look differently, and they still have their cultural identity, although they've been mixed in. They didn't mix in with black people, they didn't mix in with Spanish people, etc. But they still have their identity. Like, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, bro. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
The Limba tribe is an African tribe that that got the Bible through colonization and is doing exactly what you guys are doing.
So
They're
evidently
seeing, they're reading
you
something.
know better than them. You know
Yeah,
better than
yeah,
them.
yeah. Clearly, I do. I know better. No, who knows better than them are the other members of their group who literally say these guys are crazy. They're just making this up. There
Now,
are
you talking
people
about
within that.
Europeans are saying that. That's
There
what
are people within that group who are like, these dudes are literally just like Igbo offshoots or something, who are like just saying crazy stuff because basically they're getting paid to say that. Like,
Bucci,
all right,
let me say this real quick, and then
second
I gotta
Exodus.
go. This is second Exodus. Thanks, Dinas, for bringing me up. Genetics. We were talking about Semitic, right? There's a group of skeletons that was found in Judea. They were called the Natufians. They had a Proto-Semitic culture. They had the burial practices, the clothing, the agriculture, all of those things related them to Semites. We have a theory called the out of Asia theory, and that's focused on the YAP plus haplogroup that's associated with haplogroup DE. Haplogroup DE left the area of East Africa, Northeast Africa, and evolved in Asia. Then it split. E went back down into Africa. D continued to go further east. That's why you find a lot of people like the Adamanese and all these different groups with haplogroup D. Haplogroup E is associated with the Natufians. That's why I bring it up.
What are
Natufians.
the Natufian thing is like, okay, what are the burial practices of the ancient
They buried them in caves. So that's
go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
I just don't have that much time. I just wanted to
I
kind
get it, but what I'm telling you is you're going into a region that was filled with nomadic people,
yes.
people who constantly moved around from place to place, and you're like, we found these bones in this area. That
There's
doesn't really mean that those people were doing anything specifically in that region, or that they're related to any group of people
what
who may or may not have may have been taken captive from that region because they were nomadic. They could have
that's right.
freaking migrated from freaking
That's right.
Asia.
If I can interject real quick, sorry to say that. Somebody put in the chat room, the Limba even say their ancestors are white people. The Igbo Jews say the same thing.
White in this
And that's why Igbo's
white is a status.
That's like taking one or two out of their mind, African Americans, and saying that our ancestors were white, and then we take that as face value.
The Igbos in Nigeria told me that the ones that
you might have
they were white.
I'm saying you might have ran into one or two people. That's one or two people in ours.
Well, in the context,
Prince, can I say something real quick? First of all, Prince, number one, we're talking about well-documented studies, right? We have books. We've all probably already even touched them. We know about the in-depth study that's went into this subject matter. I don't necessarily want to get off into the nuances of the modern age in terms of how people identify, because we can see it across the US, man. You got people who look like me saying I'm, whatever. But I'm saying that when we've had these guests in Israel, that's another thing. We've hosted thousands. I'm not saying a few hundred people over 50 years. I'm saying we've hosted thousands of people from so many tribes in West Africa, tribal chieftains, and we got them on record, on mic, saying, yes, this is our connection to our ancestral holy land. So either they're crazy or the other group is crazy. Either way. And then when it all boils down to it, and I won't bury it, when it all boils down to it, the position we're in today is because we chose to do it.
I gotta go. I'm gonna say this real quick.
The same way my grandmother believes that Jesus is gonna return on a white horse and kill every wicked person on earth. That's the same way y'all believe y'all Israelites. It's just what you want to believe. There's no facts to it. There's no real evidence. It's just seeing what you want to see.
No.
Look, all I
gotta say is look into the Y chromosome of those Abu Marosians and those Natufians. Those are Semitic people. So you can't. Those are facts. And
they're Semitic because they bury people in caves.
No, that's called culture. Everybody. If I looked at hip hop culture, if I went to New York 200 years from now, I dig up a grave, I see a boombox, gold chains, I see a Adidas outfit, and I say, "Oh, this looks like proto hip hop culture." And I take the DNA of those bones, and it matches a group of people that are not even living in that area. Then that's an actual fact. Does that make sense? So it's the same
So
thing with the Semitic culture.
Abraham, so the Most High doesn't come onto the scene until Abraham discovers him. Basically, he's wandering around the desert, whatever. Then all of a sudden, these Natufians were worshiping him before that. It doesn't add up.
No, it's look, Abraham is not the only Semite. He had cousins, he had relatives.
Abraham was not a Semite, and Abraham was a Chaldean.
Semite means descendant of Shem.
Yeah.
Chaldean
All right,
means
now we
yeah.
into the Noah's Ark shit.
How okay?
How
Well,
is
I mean,
how
I
is
can't-
how is Abraham a wait,
How's Abraham a descendant of Shem? Shem got
Man, you got Shemitic, Hamitic.
Wait a
and
minute.
Japhetic, bro.
wait
yeah,
a minute.
that's Noah.
Wait, I'm
Now-
trying to think. I'm trying to think about this. Let me get my mind right.
Okay.
Abraham came from Ur. Abraham was before the flood, right?
No, Abraham was
No,
after the
after
flood.
the flood.
After the flood. After the flood.
Ur of the Chaldees. What you're
Okay,
talking?
not Ur, where Lot and them was at.
Yeah, Lot is his nephew.
Right. Okay. So Abraham is Shemitic.
A
But-
descendant of Shem. Yeah.
He's a descendant of Shem. But Shem, Ham, and Japheth and all them, they were all brothers.
They were
So you
brothers.
telling
That's
me
correct.
these dudes who are totally related had a bunch of kids and just they became totally different groups of people?
Well, yeah, because
No,
Brandon,
they
you
didn't.
gotta
So-
put cultural context. When back then, families ended up being tribes. Tribes ended up having different customs, different ways that they did things. So that's what you got to understand. In order to understand this context, I mean, in order to understand the scriptures, you got to understand the context of the culture at that time.
You
That's
guys-
what you gotta understand,
you
bro.
guys are
You also
doing.
have
You
to
guys are
understand
doing.
there was
You guys are
bottlenecks, too.
doing. You guys are doing what Jewish people do very well. You guys are segueing between reality and mythology and trying to make a pie that people can eat in real life. You can't say we're gonna make a pie with real pie crust, invisible nutmeg, invisible eggs, real, you know what I'm saying? You can't, and it's gonna come out a pie. That's what y'all doing.
What's
Jim,
invisible about?
You're bringing up characters.
We understand that African Americans, we have been displaced so much that when people start saying anything as relates to what possibly could have happened, that even if it's the truth, we're gonna run away from it just because we're so disenfranchised and so fragmented. So anybody that's saying anything that could be irrelevant, we're gonna just disqualify it without doing. Because obviously, I'm listening to you. You haven't done as much extensive research as I thought you did. You know,
No, I have.
No, you
I'm literally just trying to. You guys are saying. You guys are saying so much stuff that doesn't even go in line with the Bible that you're even making
Brother,
me confused.
Okay.
Okay,
Because
let me say.
we could talk about the mixed multitude that sat at the bottom of Mount Sinai and Moses.
Mixed
made
multitude of Africans, yeah.
No, it doesn't say that.
Cushites
It doesn't
and
say.
Egyptians.
You're
and
adding.
That's not adding.
Listen,
That's not. Look.
You're-
Aaron's grandson Phineas is a new.
Show me in the book where it says this was specifically a mixed multitude of Africans.
And they were in Egypt.
Listen.
Egypt is in Africa, right?
At that time, Egypt was the trade hub of the planet. There were people of all nationalities in
Not black.
Egypt. There were
So you're saying Native Americans were there?
Can I
But
come
I'm-
in? Can I come in on the Valentine's? Because
Go ahead out loud. Go ahead.
yeah, thank you. Good evening to everybody. But basically, first of all, can I ask you, right, Ben? What have you done your DNA test, your ethnic group that you belong to start with?
Amen to that, sir.
Have you?
No, sir.
Trace back to the Igbos.
Nope.
Okay. Basically, this is a very blur arguments that you're giving out here, because the reality is, us West African, your ancestors that was captured as slaved in West Africa wasn't a Hebrew Israelite. He was an African tribe, someone that came from that tribe and actually got captured, that already had an admixture, with the North, that carried loads of this DNA in them, basically. That's what they took out with them in the continent on that boat that you still carry, thinking, you belong to that part of the East. However, yes, there is different empires in Africa, especially in Central Africa, Central West, where you got Chad today. Because I know for a fact during when Egypt was conquered, Egypt, of course, was a black dynasty, but at the end of Egypt's dynasty, it was actually quite mixed, right? But go back to Chad. Chad was there was an Assyrian fort that was built there by the Assyrians, and that's when they came through Egypt. So I believe that's the time the Amazigh, what you call the Berbers, yes, that settled in that region. So obviously, the Berbers conquered us in West Africa. So we had already had admixture with these people, some of our tribes, right, and some of the people in the Central West region in Chad, because from Lake Chad to West Africa to Sudan all the way to the east was a regular route. And do not forget the amount of slaves that was transported from West Africa, from these people also to the east, right? So when you're talking about the skeleton and the genetics that you were talking about earlier, so when you add all these things, your stories are not making sense here. You're talking about the Limba tribe. We have Limba people in Sierra Leone. They are the native. In fact, all the tribes in Sierra Leone came there. The Limba was the first people, the original people of the land, right? However, us West Africans, we came from Nubia, right? Yeah, that's where we came from. We're Nubian people that came and mixed with the Congo and settled in the West. And then we got conquered by the Berbers that got all this admixture. And also some of our ancestors through the trade route actually have a lot of connection to the East through what you call Chad today, and, back to the ancestral land in Egypt.
Sahel. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you cannot call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, right? I think is a false claim, claiming to belong to that race when genetically you are not.
Well, genetically, we're all different. African Americans are not the same.
Wait, who are the Edomites? I know a lot of Hebrew Israelites say that.
Wait, before that.
Wait, no.
Let me do this real quick. I'm interested to hear with Jewish International. Unmute yourself, Jewish International. Jewish International, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Jewish International. Okay. John Thomas.
What's going on, brother?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that the prophecies have to be wrong, man. Everything past Moses has to be a false prophet that Moses told us would happen. He said that God would send prophets that would test us and to know whether we'd keep his commands or not. If you look at Amos says that God didn't order any sacrifices and that we sacrifice the demons in the desert, or, if you're an Israelite. And I'm not an Israelite, by the way, and look what Hosea, I'm probably an Edomite, but look what Hosea says. Hosea says that Israel will go many days without priest or sacrifice. And then Jeremiah turns around and says, this is how you know my covenant with David can never be broken, is that David will never fail to have a man on the throne, and the priest will never fail to offer sacrifices. Well, according to Moses, Jeremiah's a false prophet. That already happened. And he told us not to fear.
You're 100% right. And another reason why the prophecies are debunked is because the Israelites were ordered to take total possession of the land of Canaan, and they were never able to accomplish that feat. They never took the Holy Land outright. From the day they got in to the day they were driven out, they were at war with the nations, because instead of sticking to the statutes of the quote-unquote Most High, they assimilated. They started having kids and marrying the women from the nations round about. Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, he fell into idolatry, marrying women from the nations. David, he was still at war with the Philistines when he died. They never actually fulfilled their end of the bargain. They were supposed to cleanse the promised land. And I'm telling you, to this day, right now, they're still trying to accomplish the very beginning of the agreement. So all that other stuff really has yet to even come, because that was a part of what was required of them by the Most High, and they just kept messing up. So they never got a chance to actually really initiate the contract. Their end has never been met. Their requirements have never been met as far as from a biblical perspective.
I want to respond.
I mean, for me, if it's not genetic, forget it. I mean, if you look at the in the Sahel, you know, the Berbers, the Tuaregs, and some of our African tribes, we carry these Semites in our DNA. If we do it now, I can bet you any money you actually come out. Most of the West African tribe actually have this DNA. These Berbers and the Amazigh, they're not Arabs. You know, these people carry, you know, European and Jewish DNA.
I want to respond just briefly back to some of the things that you said. You said a lot. We've had a lot of. One of the things that you said, brother, we can't make definite statements like this when there are 3,000 different tribes in Africa alone. So to be able to know where everybody came
I'm
from,
talking about most of the West African tribes that I'm related to.
I'm saying Africa in general is a tribal place on the African continent, which again, Israel is being Northeast Africa. It sits on the African tectonic plate, Haluacha Africani. It is Africa. It is Northeast Africa. Those are our people all through from the southern, western, east, and central. We migrated in different various parts of Africa. King Solomon got a lot of his jewelry from Zimbabwe. Okay, we understand that Moses married, okay, an Egyptian. Okay, as it relates to these particular facts, and Ethiopians, as it relates to these particular facts, it is almost impossible. What I'm explaining is it's almost impossible.
I thought Moses married an
Ethiopian. Let me finish.
You'd be surprised. We are very related to, you know, we carry these genes, you know, most of us do. But the reality is
that's what I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. So listen, Al, what I'm saying is that you can't. My claim is not everybody is from, you know, all West Africa's Hebrew. No, that's not the claim. But there are a remnant of people that was in that region serving as indentured servants after 70 AD of the destruction of the temple, that went to various parts of Africa, that end up being sold and fulfilling the prophetic the prophecy of Deuteronomy and 28. There is no other people on this earth that fits that particular prophecy. Is laid out, even saying different things as relates to how we were going to be sold, the iron around our neck, that our children was going to be sold for bondmen and bondwomen. That is without a shadow of a doubt.
What group of slaves on earth?
What tribe are you talking about? What group of people in Africa are you talking about?
No,
the remnants of people.
What group of slaves? No, let me ask this question. What slave in history did not experience that? Iron shackles around their neck? Like, this is just generalized stuff. It's just saying we're
let's common sense, bro.
How do you know?
The common sense aspect of this, Brandon, is this. That doesn't mean other tribes were not mixed in with it. We're saying, though, as it relates to that, the Israelites were also of that particular experience. That's what we're saying.
And what
prophetic mandate.
I'm telling you is, how do you know that other slaves from other regions did not experience what was going on in those commandments, and they could come back?
You're not listening, bro.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I want to Jewish International. Unmute yourself. Jewish International. Unmute yourself. I saw you on camera, but you. Jewish International. Okay, he's not there.
Jewish International. Unmute your mic. The rabbi or the guy with the hat on. Yarmulke.
Ashraf, go ahead.
While we wait on him, again, one of the things that I really want to point out in all of this, because as we all probably have been a part of and witnessed, when it comes to discussions like this, unless we're convening to put the data on the table and have a understanding that we're pursuing a consensus of a position, it's going to just be one person's word against another. We're going to just keep going back and forth. What I like to share is the fact that how you doing, brother? I would like to.
Well, one second, Asher. Sorry, Jewish. Unmute yourself, Jewish International. Unmute yourself. Okay, he'll figure it out. Go ahead, Asher. Go ahead.
All right. One thing I like to point out is that for the past 50 years, the things that we've been able to accomplish and do in the name of reconnecting with this identity is the most significant element to this entire conversation. Regardless to who wants to say, well, we not this and we not that, what we are is a successful community of ex-African Americans who is 5 generations deep in one of the most controversial lands on the planet with a success story that lends itself to legends. So what I would like to interject at this juncture of the conversation is the fact that despite all of the biblical confusion or the historical back and forth and the inconsistencies and everybody's opinion, what is a fact is that for 50 years, we've developed our own school, hospital, grocery store, farm. We've influenced the Ghanaian government to change their entire health paradigm. We've drilled water in Kenya, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and Ghana, giving the people clean water. We've adopted and built schools throughout the continent. We've helped Africans throughout the continent, as well as in the diaspora, give them some hope towards the restoration of the African Edenic world. So in the name of the identity we've decided to claim, whether it's contrived or not, we have an irrefutable success story, 50 years of us being entrenched in the Holy Land, despite all of the challenges and obstacles we've had to overcome. And we have put our brick in the wall, so to speak, of this experience. And that is something that I think a lot of our conversation should be around. Either how can we assist and help this community, or how were we able to accomplish some of the tasks? So that's one of the things I wanted to interject. So we can go back and forth about opinions of Abraham. He had on blue sandals. Moses wore red shama. It doesn't matter. It does matter, but for the sake of getting past the back and forth, on the table is 50-year experience of a success story of these ex-African Americans. And we're the largest resettlement throughout the continent.
You're making that half real, half imaginary pie again, because it's like at one minute the prophecy doesn't matter because we have irrefutable evidence.
I didn't say that.
If certain accomplishments were a indicator of validity and righteousness, the United States of America got you beat by 20 miles. Because they have also made schools and built a whole this and a whole nation and welfare and Section 8 and colleges and all that. That is not an indicator of validity. That is not an indicator of righteousness.
I didn't say that.
The Bible said, wait, let me.
I don't want to change.
I didn't interrupt you.
Because that's not what I said.
I didn't interrupt you.
That's not what I said.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Let him finish, because
the Bible says in the Bible, it's asked who truly are the descendants of Abraham. The Bible says obedience is greater than a sacrifice. Obedience. You guys are trying to tell us that we are a group of people who can't be obedient to their God, so we're being punished. You're literally signing your people up for destruction, because the Bible says that they'll travel earth and sea to make one proselyte, to get one person to follow them. Not understanding that when they do get that person to follow them, they make that person twice as much a candidate for Gehenna as they themselves. Why in the hell would I try to pull my people into an agreement that I cannot, will not, and have never lived up to? That doesn't make any sense. That's like me signing my own people up for a predatory loan, Dynas. Ain't no way in hell you living up to them laws. You never have. Go in all the books. We could argue, that's us, that's us, that's us. Argue, show me where Most High made an order, you fulfilled the order, kept doing it, and he blessed you. No, he made a commandment, you signed the agreement, you kept messing up, and you kept getting slaughtered and taken into captivity over and over and over and over and over again. Why on earth would you try to sell this to your people? You can't do it. Throw in the towel. Say, look, the rules are just too strict for us. We need to find a new way. Instead of that, self-righteousness got you ready to sign your people up for sure destruction. Because they ain't going to be able to live up to all this stuff, because the best of the best from among you can't live up to it. Moses himself could not live up to these rules. Am I right or am I wait?
You're wrong.
Answer me, Dynast. Moses did not enter into the promised land because he violated God's commandments. The leader, the person who talked in God's face, Dynast, could not live up to the very commandments that he gave the people. And he never was able to enter the promised land. That's what happened. No one has lived up to this stuff. That is why Jesus came to give a new law, because men could not live up to that law.
So in response to you, Brendan, no, you had within their story segments of success, and then we also revealed the times where they missed the mark. But it wasn't just Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark. No, there were segments of success. For an example, during the time and the dynasty of King Solomon, Solomon, that was a success. That was a period where, because of the obedience, even though David had missed the mark on certain things, ultimately he lived up enough to be able to get blessed, to where now we had years and years of peace, where you was able to see the Israelites live up to a particular standard based on our code and how we the amount that we lived up to as relates to the moral code. So you don't just have destruction. You also have periods, and you have people within the scriptures that also did live up to it and were blessed because of it. So no, if that was all the way true, then you would have a point. But it's not all the way true. So now,
Moses, David, Solomon, Dynast,
Elijah.
They said Solomon was the wisest man who ever lived. That's what they said. Even Solomon couldn't live up to the laws. What on earth do regular ass me and the rest of us Negroes think? And mind you, they were way closer to perfection than we were, because they were way closer to Adam than we are. Why would you try to sign your people up for a predatory loan? Sound like you need to file for bankruptcy spiritually and get the hell out of this loan, because it's bad. It ain't working for you.
But your presupposition is that we're doing what you're saying. We're not doing. I'm not proselytizing. We don't go out on the street corners and tell people.
Shit.
No, we don't. Our community.
You specifically don't.
No.
But me, where I feel
disappointed,
where I'm really disappointed in both of you guys. You came here claiming to be Hebrews. It's all good. It's not a problem. At the end of the day, no matter what you claim, whatever you feel like, you belong, that's good for you. I agree with that. But, you claim to be Hebrews, but, you fail to, explain to me genetically how you are. And at the same time, even before you actually jump on basic claiming to be Hebrew, you haven't even find out what tribe in Africa that you came from. So to me,
brother L, we number one, this is what I'm saying, and I've done this for 20 years. When it comes to a conversation where if I'm going to articulate or explain something, and the response is going to be, well, you're just wrong, and then a whole bunch of information is going to get thrown.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, because
listen. Hear me out.
Yeah,
it becomes an untenable. What can you accomplish in a scenario like that? So that's why I interjected at this point in the conversation. I would like to focus on the success and the work that we have done as a collective, and what our purpose and intent was. It's not about, at a certain point, it's no longer about trying to convince someone who doesn't either accept or understand what the other person is saying, and that's fine. I may be found at fault for not being able to properly articulate that, but it doesn't detract from the point of why I'm here, or the point in which my life is centered around, which is the continued assistance to those of us throughout the African Indigenous world and the world over to help them with elements of their life that they need. I'm going to be a contributor.
But is that what you think they need, or that's what did you ask them? Is that what they need?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
That's what you think they need?
Absolutely. Let me give one example, and I'm going to defer my time. Let me give one example. During the Savior's Day presentation in the early 90s, His Excellency Ben Ami was there with Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and they had a wonderful presentation. And His Excellency Ben Ami overheard the president say that the drinking water in Ghana was the same as the toilet water in the city. So when His Excellency Ben Ami got up to speak, he committed to saying what we're going to do, what our community is going to do, fully funded by our community, is provide the people in those regions with.
Is that in Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana. Wow. And what the Brotherhood is there, which I was a part of. I helped ship the drill rig, one of the first drill rigs from Miami. We sent 3 drill rigs to Ghana to drill for water. We ended up in 22 cities, 22 villages where we actually gave the people access to clean drinking water. We didn't charge the government nothing. We provided that because we care for our people. That's the
sorry to cut you off. Do you know, yesterday I was on a show, being insulted by a Ghanaian, and he was attacking us, claiming that African Americans are not doing shit in Ghana. They're not investing anything. It's just the media hype. And now hearing this from you, it's just kind of made me feel better, for standing up to what I think was the truth.
That's the point.
Right. Yeah.
And not only that, we just recently provided shoes, uniforms, and new books for the school we've adopted in Ghana to 35 students. We don't charge. You don't even see this on the media because that's not our angle. Our angle is brothers and sisters that are sincerely looking to assist our people worldwide. That's been our platform for 50 years. Now, if someone say, "Well, who are you? Why y'all saying hallelujah, etc.?" Then we may interject. Well, come on up to New World Passover, see what this is all about. We don't force, we don't proselytize. No, this is no disrespect to any other Israelite group.
That's a good thing.
I mean, do you think?
A good thing, it's far-fetched from the point of you saying you are a Hebrew, because what you are saying, it's a good thing. I support that, because these are things some people do in a small scale. I mean, what you're saying is something you did in a small scale. I know that for sure. But also, if you get moving to the point of being a Hebrew, I'm Sharif. Sharif, the Mandingo tribe.
Yes. I know Mende brother. Yes.
Mende Mandingo.
Yes.
That name came straight from Prophet
Muhammad. Yes. Me Mende.
I know you are. That's a good thing.
But Mende na Mandingo now.
I mean, no, not say that now. Mende na one of the biggest tribes.
Our friend Palava you.
No. You know that Mende come out from Songhai Empire.
I know, Asabi. All the people we can hide in that place there.
Yeah, but like the Sharifs came way from Saudi, right? But if you really think about it, so I'm not disputing the fact that there could be DNA connections of Israelite that came down to that region, because obviously the Sharifs, people then from that area region, they go down connect with people and through marriage and that.
Exactly. Yes.
But to say a group of people who are Hebrews, I think that's far-fetched. I mean, I'm African, but we not ever observe any African tribe. Not say African tribe, let's say Salon tribe, because I'm Sierra Leonean.
But the Limba they get Jewish.
But they don't practice, they're not Jewish. They don't practice anything.
They will never accept that. They will never accept it, because they wouldn't.
So that's what I'm saying. So we don't have any tribe that have the heritage of their culture.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Is it DNA possible? I think that's a possibility, but that don't make a whole group of people being Hebrews. I think for me is a little bit far-fetched.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know, but
going back to some of the things that you said. First and foremost,
my brother, hold on.
We're not trying.
Wait. Let other people let them interject.
It's good to propagate propaganda. It seems like in the United States, you people read a lot of books outside that this whole story of Hebrew and everything came from the United States. I don't think most of people who say you are Hebrew have never been to Africa to know how these tribes work, in Africa. when I start seeing some certain things coming out of United States, even direct from the prison system down to the mainstream of United States, it kind of like confused me. I understand slave trade take place. Slave trade was there existing. And you people, the Sonike sold you people to whoever, and the Yorubas and the other ones did the same thing. I think will you understand that even the Congo people, where most of United States, also Black Americans are coming from, down to the West Africans, that your ancestors are part of a tribe, not a separate entity, are part of a Joshua tribe, Ekiti tribe, uh, Calabar tribe, the Oyo, the Akwa Iboms, the down to the Asans and the Edos and down to the
All right, now
Equatorial.
you're gonna name the whole continent. It's
No,
gonna
no, no,
take you
no,
all
no.
day.
What I'm saying is, if you go down to history, religion is being passed by what your ancestors might be 1,000 years old passed through. West African people are who worship the trees, the water, and the iron. There's never in history that they ever put on a white garment in their body and say, I'm Jewish or I'm Hebrew. It never really existed. It's not in their history. It's not. We found out that some Nigerians who went to United States came also with this kind of bubu yeye. They dress almost like Pakistan type of way of pants. They will say, I'm Jewish. They will wear the cap of a Jewish in their head. I've seen my uncle came in certain thing like this. Also, like, what? What are you talking about, sir? He came here, God, Jewish. I'm like, okay. Now he changed now. It's no longer that aspect anymore. He wear a pants like MC Hammer type of pants. And came and said, I'm Jewish. It's a fantasy. America is full of fairy tale. Superman.
So
It's just the
And
identity issues. Our people
And
suffer.
this fairy tale have been existing for now. If America has been existing, look, the United States, if you cannot have it, buy it. So you are just picking somebody else's identity. Can you die for your own belief? Look, the Jewish people are dying now in Israel. There, try to live. They're fighting themselves there. When I say you live and die for your tribe, it's not just I'm Hebrew, I'm this. The real Jewish people, which the Netanyahus and the other ones who are fighting there
Oh
now,
my God,
dying
you're about to start.
for their own tribe to live, to survive. You people come and say, I'm this, quoting something that Black Africans doesn't know nothing about. Check your DNA.
Exactly.
Check out you are from Neda, what called Calabenere, or you are Madinka, or you are somewhere in Mali. These are who you are. Don't be shy to run away from.
When I look at them, I can see the tribes that they came from
Can I
straight
just
away.
add something?
So
Greetings
sad.
to everyone on the panel and to the chat and the viewers. The last time I had a conversation regarding this was somebody claiming that because of some of the practices that they see in the culture of Africans, that's why they are like this in a Hebrew. I was like, what is that? How are you sure they didn't copy it from us, not the other way around? Because in Nigeria, we just found a tribe that seemed like they are the ones that seeded the very Chinese language itself. So people forget that Africa has been around over 150,000 years before the first European was created. And they just, every time we keep copying other, where did you get that? Have you ever seen any group of people that just exist today and they just forget what their tradition was? The Irish people forget that they were once Celts, or they were, or the English they forgot that they were once Druids. They didn't forget, they knew who they were for thousands of years. The Jews were kicked out of Jerusalem for 2,000 years. They didn't forget for 1 second. Somehow we forgot. It's crazy. It's some weird stuff.
No, you can't blame them. We need to help them. We need to help them because they need to.
I like some things that you said, and I agree with a lot of things that you just said, right? Which was, for an example, you mentioned as it relates to how do we know it wasn't the other way around? That's exactly our point is this. We can have a whole separate debate as it relates to me personally or Asaf personally or whoever else claims to be a Hebrew, whether you're personally, your genetics or whatever the case may be. That's a whole other separate conversation. Here's the facts of the matter. We know the history of this being a made-up people. That's debunked. We know that there's way too many artifacts that know the ancient Israelites existed. Secondly, we know the ancient Israelites were African people, black people. That is a fact.
During ancient Egypt, during to Niger, during ancient Egypt.
Let me finish.
Okay,
go on. We know that they were black people. I'll be here all day trying to debate this stuff. I'm not going to debate this stuff all day. We know they were black people. The Hebrew
no one is denying that. No one is denying that.
No, some people are. You heard some people.
What you're not getting is.
Let me finish.
I think you're missing the point.
I don't know why you're saying that. Don't say that. Let him finish.
But he's missing the point.
The Hebrew language is an African Semitic language. A lot of the customs that you'll see all throughout the scriptures are practiced still to this day in many different places in Africa, in West Africa and South Africa, and different places of Africa. They were African people. Now, the argument and the debate is, how do you so-called link yourself to those people? That is a separate particular argument, but what we understand is that it said that based upon our disobedience, we will be scattered to the four corners. But if you read, anybody who reads Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it is undeniably talking about an experience that the African, American, and Caribbean uniquely was the only people to experience what was prophesied. Now, what it ends in, I'm going to end it right here as it relates to anything I got to say. I don't got nothing else to say. This is where it ends. It's either you look at that and you believe it, or you look at it and you don't. That's the only two sides of the spectrum that we're on, and that's just a matter of fact.
I think it's all theory. It's all theory.
Hold on, see,
all theory.
That is some serious voodoo thinking there. Because that's insulting voodoo. Actually, I apologize. That is some weird thinking there. First, you don't have continuity, and you just claim that you are connected to something that was written in a book. And secondly, the history that was written even in the Bible clearly shows that these people came from which is somewhere in the Middle East, that we all know till today. We know where Jerusalem is. We know the locations where all these places. We know the history. They were on the other side of this in Egypt. And as a matter of fact, the Cushite kingdom had an alliance with the Israelites against the Egyptians. These are written facts, even in the Bible. And you're saying we, the Africans that are behind the Cushites all the way in West Africa, are those Egyptians all over there. If we were those people, believe you me, we will not forget. You don't just overnight wake up and there's like they zap you black like and wand. That doesn't happen. You will remember who you are.
It doesn't happen, and
so I'm not denying. That's why we exist today. We do remember. That's why
we're not denying the fact that we do have the Semitic blood in us. Yeah, a lot of us have. But to claim that we belong to that race, Niger,
because it resembles what's in the Bible,
to claim that we belong to that race is actually not true. It's just a fallacy, and everything that you've been saying here is just theories. There's no fact. You haven't brought anything genetically fact. In fact, the thing that you're trying to tag with it is languages, and the African languages are the oldest on the planet. That's where human race started, and that's why we started speaking. And our language spread out in the world. So you're not bringing anything fact on this panel. I'm sorry, you both. I think you're ill prepared for this. Our
point was never to try to prove. We don't have to prove to you. We already exist. We're doing the works as relates to what I do. We don't. Our point.
But you know what? The job that the brother Ram was saying in Ghana, I totally commend that.
To try to prove to you, we don't have to prove to you who we are.
You're right. Yeah. So, Al, listen, again, like you're echoing what Uriah said, our point to come today was to share. See, when people do great things, oftentimes people inquire, what motivates you all? I mean, that's usually a common question in any successful space. And when people inquire, what motivates you all to do the work, to build these organic farms?
Yes.
To help people get organic, non-GMO food that won't kill us.
Right.
What inspires you all to do the work that we're doing in Ghana, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa for 50 years? Then we simply say what inspired us is the inspired prophets of Israel.
Okay.
Now,
if that's what inspires you, brother, I totally
listen now, listen. We could travel the world on any subject matter and find a whole heap of research on this side that says one thing and a whole heap of research on the other side that says something else. We're not here to try to we're here to share, but no, we're not ill prepared. I've been in a member of the Jewish
Do you know what? You know what? If you find peace in Judea, and it makes you a better person than other people, I take my knee. You know what I mean? I take my hat off. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, whatever religion you find that is, you're peaceful or community or whatever, I take my hat off. And for the fact that you're coming back to your ancestral land and doing something positive.
I'll be in Ghana next week.
Exactly, that's good. But however, my only point is to claim that that is Ben. That is to claim that you belong to to that race. In the Middle East.
No, we belong to the African race. Yes, as we always have.
Yes, but I do you know what?
Al, you need to step back a bit. Let me have a conversation. You've been having conversation with this guy for ages.
Okay, no, let me just finish. I think before I go, I think both of you should actually find out what tribe in West Africa you belong to.
I did my DNA. I did my DNA.
What tribe you belong to?
The Ashanti.
Ashanti, and you,
Ben? Yes, sir.
And Ben?
I have a lot of Igbo inside of my particular genetics from
there
my
you
father.
Go. So now you see, as we're talking about Igbos, I'm thinking of Borno, the Borno Empire, the amount of things that go down there to Cameroon, and it's still, if you go to northern Cameroon and the south, it's still there's still a mark in there. But anyway, I will let Tunaja take on next.
Hold on, let me acknowledge a couple of super chats. Shout out to All Gas No Breaks. I see Nigerians come to the States and work with Black people with no problem. Will Black Americans be fully accepted in Africa if they did not identify with the tribe? I didn't have any issues. Okay. All Gas No Breaks. Okay, already read that. And shout out to Rodney who sent me a $20 holla. All right, go ahead, Nigel.
Yeah, thank you. I think they will accept them. I speak to Nigerians all the time. I refuse to identify myself to any tribe, and they made their peace with that, even if they know I'm Nigerian.
Exactly.
I refuse to associate myself with any tribe. So okay, you believe what you believe. So, do you subscribe to the idea that Judea is Jerusalem is the kind of headquarter of your religion or something like that? Because
no religion.
Okay, so yours is not a religion.
It's a culture, sir.
It's a culture.
Being Nigerian, being Igbo is not a religion. If somebody say, "Hey, I'm Igbo," say that's your religion? No, it's not.
No, I'm talking about Hebrew Israelites. Right. I'm talking about Hebrew Israelites.
We're saying the same thing. A Hebrew Israelite is it's an ethnic group. It's not a religion. It's an identity.
We're not Jews.
We're not Jews. Is a religion. An Israelite is not a religion. It's a culture.
Okay, so
it's they're on about Hebrew. The Hebrews. They apparently they're the descendant of Israel, not the Jewish that's there now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Clearly, their genetic lineage indicates that they are not anywhere near that area because E1B1A, E1B1A. Hold on now. Let me finish my point. You have to go with facts now. There's only don't believe me. Believe what the science says too.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Gene that the Igbo people are associated with are one of the blackest groups in terms of E1B1A. The Yorubas have the highest frequency of E1B1A, and the Igbos are next. So, if you as black as they come, you are one of them. So I don't know how you are associating yourself with people that have RB1 this thing genetic lineage or Semitic lineage. You are not one of them.
Niger, is that the Niger Congo one? Or?
It's the Niger Congo
because,
one.
Because
the language
you know more
is Niger
about
Congo
too. Than I do. Yeah, exactly. That's
the
what
language is Niger Congo. The genetic lineage, you are deep. See what you guys forget is that you guys were one of the first people around, and those areas where the Igbo people are from, you have some of the earliest genetic lineages of the male paternal haplogroup, and the maternal one too is one of the oldest. And somehow you give that all up to go and copy what the desert dwellers want you to believe because they wrote a book. I don't get it.
Tunaja,
didn't you think?
Okay,
1 second. Tunaja, didn't you think? Because you know much about this. Didn't you think that the Igbo Semite in the Igbo, some of the Igbo blood coming from the north, where you have, where you had the Borno Empire and Chad, that area? do you think is that what went straight down to the Igbo line? And obviously they had that probably intermarriages or whatever, and some of them carry that
Not
DNA.
even close. I don't want. See, the Igbo lineage is based on.
No, but some of them have the Semites. Some of them have the Semite.
No. If it occurs, very tiny minority.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
very, very tiny minority, because their genetic lineage, they are even the language, everything is in deep
Niger
into
Congo.
the Niger Congo distinct group.
Yeah.
So you can't associate. If let's say there was a Jewish person or Jewish group that came from the Middle East. What happens? This is why I talk about genetic flow. What happens is that you come in to a majority group, the dominant culture there. What happens is that you disappear into that culture.
Yes.
And you don't exist anymore.
Yes.
And the idea that just because your forefathers came from the Middle East and came to an area where there is a dominant culture, and then you decide to associate yourself with the Middle East. No, it doesn't.
Yes.
It's gone on for thousands of years. You don't exist anymore.
But with us in West Africa, in West Africa, like the Fullers, majority of the Mande. Majority of the Mande. Okay, I'll finish this.
So it is Jewish International. Can you hear me, Jewish International? Can you hear Jewish International?
His line is bad.
Yeah, I think he's bad.
I really hope they shift from this thing that they are doing.
Hold on, brother. Let the other people talk, man. I want to hear.
But I don't think you're not liking what you hear.
Hold on. Hey, John, hold on. One mic. John Thomas. Go ahead, John Thomas.
I don't want to convince you whether you're the Israelites or not, but my point is look at those prophecies. The common theme is David. Why is it that everything seems to be surrounding Israel's salvation is around David, when we know if Moses lived during the time of David, he would have had to kill David? Absalom's mother was a Canaanite. Solomon's mother was a Canaanite. I want to suggest that everybody on panel is wiser than Solomon. Nobody here sacrificed to Molech. Nobody threw their children in fires. I mean, I still believe Israel could stand against their enemies, no matter who they are. But we know they'll never do it unless they get rid of the abominable things among them. And I'm saying, why is it that those prophets take precedence over Moses? Why is it that when we know they're different from Moses? You see what I'm saying? Why is it all David, or else, we're belly up without him?
Maybe it's because the Bible says David is after God's heart. But anyway, let's not even go there. I really want to make this about religion. Let's not diverge from the topic we are at now. We are talking about, let's see on what we're talking about. My brothers, like I said earlier, you have like the Fulanis. These are traders that came away from the Middle East. They have direct lineage from the Middle East. They came there. So I'm not going to say DNA-wise you cannot possibly be a Hebrew. But what I'm saying, though, to say a group of people, that one, I don't see any evidence of it. That's my only. See, I don't like to say people are wrong about something. But like today's history, the reason why history today, it feels like every group of people try to make their own history, and sometimes people embellish. Yeah. So
I got a question.
Sheriff,
hold on. Go ahead.
Let me just correct Sherry before you move on, and then I will just probably exit. You see, this is what really confused us in West Africa. We have the Igbos, they claim to be from Israel. So I hear some of the Yorubas claim to be from Mecca, and then you have the Fulani people. They always claim to be from the Middle East. But when the one final geogenetical and historical study that was made of my people that came out, which is a final, that says Fula people are originally from West Africa in where you call Futa Toro today. And the reason, in fact, they look at the admixture that we Fula people have, because we have Semitic and other, tiny bit of Eurasian. They wonder how we manage to have these genes on us, right? So they actually go back and research it on the other way around to see whether we people that these genes actually came into the continent, or they actually left the continent and came back and stuff like that. But what they find out, one second, let me finish. What they find out is that we all originally from the Fouta Toro region in Senegal, but we actually we intermarried with the Berbers in the north that came to invade us. That's how we managed to have those genes. And also through the Islamic, through the Islamic,
name of the tribe.
yeah, through the Islamic. No, I'm just saying through the Islamic route also. Going to the east in Lake Chad, we managed to bring different admixture with the Arabs, like the Kanuris and the Hausas, and bring that genetic back with us to West Africa.
Okay,
so that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Quickly. It's not as simple as it looks.
One second, Al. Yeah. I think this is the point.
Idris, your sound isn't coming through clear, Idris. Maybe
hold
on. Back
Al, this is the point. You made a great point. Yeah. You just mentioned that there were multiple African groups in West Africa and other various parts of Africa that claimed they came from that region.
Yes.
Again, the Middle East is a new term. That's what's confusing us. It's a new term. That region, the way that you understand a place is on what continent a nation sits on is you got to determine the flora and the fauna.
Yeah.
Northeast, that region up until Iraq is still on the African tectonic plate. It is Africa. So what I'm explaining is this. Wherever we
can I answer Al?
Let me finish. Wherever we originated, we're not arguing to say that we didn't originate in Senegal or wherever you said. That could be true. That's not what we're saying. What separates us is not necessarily our genes. What separates a lot of us is our customs and our cultural practices. The Israelites were just a different custom and a different practice than maybe the Igbo. But what I'm explaining is that at some point we were there in that region, and that particular region, from a prophetic standpoint, was given to a particular group of people. But we're all African.
Well, Ben, where there might be a possibility in that will be back in the day during Nubia. Because we all came from Nubia, the entire West Africa, because this is a study that was done, because according to the geogenetical studies of most West African tribes, the Fullers, the Wolof, and majority of the Mande group in West Africa, they actually came from Nubia. They call it the Northwest Nile Valley. That's where they came from, and came settled in West Africa.
West Africa,
in West Africa, along the Guinea coast, you had the Landuma and the Limba, and this sort of tribe that's already been there before we came and actually settled in that region, right?
Yeah, but
I have a question for Al.
Most of what we are saying, and brothers, these were Muslim warlords who are propagating Islam in Africa. Most of what we are saying is based on Islam being spread to not come down to Western Africa through force, and people did intermarriage, and that's why I'm saying there is a possibility of the gene. But to say a group of Israelites we are living among West Africans,
here's my question.
There is no records of it.
Wait. Well, you keep saying that. That's not true.
That's not true at all.
But here's my question.
Exactly.
Do you brothers accept the historical fact that...
Hello, shalom, namaste, shalom.
Shalom, Manishma. Glad to hear you, bro.
Shalom.
The question is, do you...
you people are listening me properly?
Reality? Do you accept...
Let's let him talk.
Okay.
Jewish International, can you talk?
Yes, please.
Yes, welcome.
Go ahead.
I'm talking to you all from Israel. Shalom from Israel.
Shalom.
Unfortunately, the connection is so poor.
We lost it. All right.
What I was asking was, do you brothers accept the historical reality that there were in fact 12 tribes that lived in Northeast Africa at some point in historical reality? Do you guys accept that?
No.
Not at all.
No, you mean in Egypt, you mean? If you're talking about Egypt, yes.
No. Children of Israel. Do you believe that there was a group of people, 12 tribes of Africans that existed at any point in history in Northeast Africa.
If you call Northeast Africa the closer region to the Middle East, where Israel is right now, those areas, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So where are those people? Where are those African people today?
They are still there today. Their heritage is still there. They are part of the Palestinians and all those people that are there today.
With
And nowhere else.
They didn't come through Egypt. Egypt was always there, and there's the Kush kingdom right next to them. Kush kingdom had a long history, thousands of years, and even survived beyond Egypt's dynasties. So how we can just say the Israelites came from there, went past the Kush kingdom, and then went straight down to West Africa? There is no record of that. There is no genetic a footprint of that too. That is just, I have a link at the backstage. Look at the genetic lineage of West Africans and those of the Middle Eastern people. You see that they are very, very distinct and different.
Yeah, like for example, most West Africans are Niger Congo people. Yeah, most
Jewish
West
International
Africans are Niger Congo people. You got the Afro-Asiatic, like the Kanuris and the Hausas, but like my people, we're Niger Congo people. The Mantinka, the Mende, the Yoruba, the Igbos, all these people are Niger Congo. So I don't understand where that's.
Even your blood has your passport. You have your passport to. Let me show you. Let me just finish the point.
Yes,
you
please.
have a kind of resistance to malaria that people in the Middle East don't have. That shows where you are
Jewish
from.
International. Can you talk?
Your forefathers have earned that right, and now
Yes,
you guys
I
go
could
on and
talk
say
now.
you are from somewhere else.
To Niger, let Jewish
Fortunately.
International come. Yes.
Fortunately, we got the connection. Thank you very much for taking me in your live stream. Shalom from Israel.
Shalom.
And I would like to know who you all are, what you people are, and what you people are discussing about.
The Hebrew Israelites, and what's the merit behind them claiming to be partly of the historical Israelites?
I'm discussing
very
why all
nice.
the prophets
All right.
past Moses have been false.
And also where they the people, the origin, the native people of that land. We are saying they're not. We are saying they are from West Africa. But however, they have mixed with the people of that land over the years. But they say no, they are. They actually was the first people of of the land and the history of it. So what do you think?
See,
we'll also make it real. We'll make it real short for you too.
Okay.
A lot of us have been reading scholastic books.
I think we should let him answer now.
Let him answer. Do you understand the question?
Hello.
Yeah. Do you understand what we're asking you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
I don't think he can hear us, or he's delayed.
Okay. May I speak?
Yes. Speak.
Yeah. Speak. Yeah.
Okay. See, my thinking is, I don't believe in any DNA. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in any land or any boundary or anything. I only believe whoever worship Hashem follows his commandment and keeps his commandments and all follows the Judaism, Torah especially, the first 5 books of Moses, is a Jew. That's it. That's what is my thinking. Now, whether you have the recognition from Chief Rabbinate of Israel or the people from Israel or anybody else, you should not deny. I don't care about it. If you pray, if you believe in Hashem, see, this is all political. It's a very big issue. Who will get the recognition from Israel, from Chief Rabbinate or not? Very, very big issue. I'm living in Israel for last 15 years. So my request to you all is, you people have all Jewish souls. You're great Jewish souls. And if you follow Torah, you pray 3 times according to Torah, you keep Shabbat, you are a Jew. That's it. If you want to confirm this, please read Isaiah 56. Okay? Now, Can somebody say hello? I would like to know whether
Hello.
your voice is coming properly to me.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Hello.
But what if
Yes.
we reject
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
guys
good.
like David and
You
Solomon?
are
Can
good.
we still
No,
be
let him
Jewish?
finish. Yeah, you're fine. Just continue.
Okay. This is I'm going to start my live streaming in few days. Somebody should say, could you write down my email?
Okay.
Or
Dynasty, take us.
Dr. Aaron Abraham,
You got that, Dynasty?
DRAARON.
Hebrew Israelite, you got that?
Do you want to write it in the chat?
Yes. Write it in the chat. Can you go? You know the box?
Yeah, Dr.
The private chat, the one that you are on now, you can write it there.
Where
it
it
says
said
chat
chat.
down. If you look at the screen, it says chat down there.
In the middle of the screen. Can you see?
Okay, I'm mentioning in the chat. Please note down, and somebody should communicate with me. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
I'm so sorry. The connection is not so good. Okay.
No, it's fine. You just speak. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my mail I have mentioned, and please communicate with me. We'll be together. You are great souls. You have Jewish souls, Jewish soul in you all. Okay. Because
So
I would
Jewish
like to
International,
continue some discussion.
Jewish International, are you saying that all I have to do is follow the commandments of Moses, and I myself could be a Jew?
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't listen to anybody properly because the voice, your sound is vibrating. There's nothing.
He said.
I mentioned.
Okay, Jewish International. What is a Jew? What is a Jew? What is a Jew? Define what is a Jew.
Okay, please, someone should write to me on my email, draaronabraham@gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Toda rabba.
Before you go,
God bless you all.
Yes. Before you go, can I ask you one question?
I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah, I think yes. You know, to be a Jew, all you have to do is believe, the religion. Yeah.
Okay. I don't listen anybody properly, so please.
Okay, no problem.
Communicate with me on my email.
All right. Let's move.
Thank you for joining. Take care.
All right. So
I mean he just actually proved you guys totally wrong. And I heard what he said. If you go back to his tape, if you go back to his tape, what he just said, all you have to do is believe in the religion.
Yes, we don't have a religion. We're not a part of a religion. I keep saying that.
But that's what he's trying to. That's what he's said
there are
to you.
so many cultures to copy from. Why go and copy something that is clearly associated with the Middle East?
But that's tonight. That's a choice. That's a choice. It's up to them what they want to believe.
Can you let me talk, Al?
Okay,
I
go
have
on.
my own opinion. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's true. I'll allow you. No, that's true.
Why would you choose a culture that is outside the continent? That is not part of.
It's not outside the continent, brother. It's on the continent.
And is officially proven that most of all the creationist beliefs that most people believe around the world was first founded in Africa. So some of the stuff our people do sometimes is really not respecting their own heritage. Because like I said, the blood that flows in your your veins actually has resistance to malaria that your forefathers gave to you, and you decided to abandon all that and go and subscribe to some other groups' heritage. I don't understand that. Why?
Let me ask you, brother.
Why are you trying to force us all to be Cushites?
Are you born and raised?
No. I just said I don't understand that. I'm not forcing anybody.
But listen. Here's the thing.
What the hell is
Here's the thing.
Who's a Cushite?
First of all, your experience.
Well, you know, everybody's trying to make everybody who looks black African.
Your
What's up?
experience as an
What is
indigenous
that?
No, not everybody.
No, it's just, but what's
Can you
interesting,
hear
let me
me?
interject. It's just what's interesting, and this is where I get confused. Like all my travels throughout Africa, I don't hear Africans ever referring to themselves as Cushites and Hebrews and Jews and this part of and part of this tribe. I'm sorry, part of this Abrahamic tribe. You know, they're Yoruba, they're Mende, they're Igbo, they're Ashanti, they're Fula, they're Fulani, they're Maasai, and they have their own traditions that they have kept for thousands of years. That's why I just said,
well, they have their own cultures. They have their own
Dinus, what's
languages and they have
happening
their own cultures.
what's happening is that those are just biblical terms that people are using in contemporary time.
You just keep deflecting it and ignoring it.
However, Dinus, what we're saying is now there's different beliefs even amongst the Hebraic world. But what we're saying is that yes, all Black people originated from Africa. That is an absolute fact. And what we're saying is that the Israelites were African in contemporary language. You wouldn't use that back then. You wouldn't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm African." That ain't the language that we spoke in then. It was tribal origins. We're saying that the Israelites were just a different tribe in the multitude of tribes in Africa.
Prove it. Prove that.
Exactly.
Evidence, origin.
Hold on. Prove that. I thought you guys were from
evidence.
Israelites came
hold
out
on,
of Egypt.
No, hold on.
Egyptians are African.
Will you hold
on? What
on?
are you talking about?
Nah. So Abraham is from where? Where's Abraham from?
From Africa. He's from Africa. Ur of the Chaldeans.
That's no Chaldeans and somewhere around Iraq.
Hey, give me a second. Give me a second. You say, okay, what kind? The brother just mentioned about the tectonic plates. Everything from the north of the Euphrates River all the way down to the Nile Valley, that sits on the African tectonic plate.
You're wrong, my brother. You're wrong.
No, that's not wrong. That's what we're trying to explain to you is the great conspiracy is that they cut off that region in contemporary times so you didn't associate that region with Africa. But we're explaining that that area is Africa. That's what we're
just say if I give you Israel. Just say if I give you Israel because it's on that plate.
You would have to because I know you're gonna give me Egypt. Egypt is right beside it.
So what I'm not gonna give you is Iraq. I'm not gonna give you none of that. I ain't gonna give you Iraq.
All right, let me ask you. Okay, wait, hold on, bro. Listen. Let me ask you. Okay, well, if during the time of Abraham, when he traveled from Ur of the Chaldeans, there was no Iraq, Chaldeans, Babylon. When he traveled from that region, what ethno group of people predominantly lived in that region? Were they black or white?
The Canaanites, even if they were black, they were different kind of black. Hold on. Let me finish my point. Hold on. Let me finish my point. Hold on. See, even if they were black, they were different kind of black. Like the kind of black you see in India today, they are not the same black as us. Our group, our genetic lineage has not left Africa. We dominated the continent for a very, very long time. The only time we left in numbers was during the slave trade. And what you are saying that, okay, say Israel was part of the African tectonic plate. That's fine. But they were not of Egypt, not south of Egypt. We know the people that were on the south of Egypt. They've always existed. As a matter of fact, they were part of the civilization that founded Egypt, which was from the Tarseti, empire that existed there. Then they founded Egypt. Then they went on to become the Nubians and the Cushites. How you can now translate those people in that region to Israelites, I don't know, because they had kings in that kingdom that are allied with Israel in the north of Egypt. It's actually in the Bible. And Jerusalem remained the same. It never changed.
And on top of that, the Israelites were saying the Egyptian had donkey balls, donkey penis.
Where did that one come
so
from?
they said we had big things, boy.
You need to take this guy to Senegal. You need to take him to Senegal and ride donkeys over there.
Say no homo. Hold on. Say no homo.
No homo. I'm just saying the scripture is say that
Oh
the
man,
Egyptian
pause,
had
man. What scripture you
donkey.
reading, bro?
I'm just telling you what it's saying. Am I lying?
What scripture you reading?
Euro, am I lying?
Pause.
Euro, am I lying?
What kind of question is that? Are
That
you
was
like? I
Ezekiel.
don't know anything
Ezekiel's
about
the
what you're
false
talking about.
prophet, brother.
They were envy. They were
That was
envy
in
of the
Ezekiel.
Egyptian. They know the Egyptian was pulling.
You are
Oh
really,
man,
you guys are really ill prepared.
hold on, bro.
You are really ill prepared. I'm sorry, but it is. And by the way, Ram, the guy that was talking about Ghana that you're not doing anything for them is on the chat. I'm just joking. No, that's my brother. No, Zongo, I'm not. I was talking about Too Strong. Remember when Too Strong came on the show and he was actually saying Ghana, African American, are not doing nothing in Ghana. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, you guys are doing good. No matter what you do, yeah. If you go there and dig one well, I commend you for that. No matter how little it is, if Africans themselves can go and do it for their own people, it'll be better. But you guys that live in America and going there and doing a good job like that, I commend you. And it seems like the religion that you're finding peace in there, bro. So on that aspect, I respect you guys for that.
Nah,
the reality is,
I don't know why
we found our bloodline too. Thank you.
Somebody finding
Much respect.
peace in a kind of if it is considering some element of soft power, I have an issue with that. Because if you are subscribing to another group's culture, you are kind of giving in to some kind of soft power. It's like when Islam come into Africa, they start changing their chieftaincy titles to emirs and sultans, and then before you know it, it's Arabization stuff. That kind of stuff that erodes your own identity. And all the people that have stuck to their identity in this world, they are the ones that are doing very well.
But they've
China.
been in Ghana for a long time though, to Niger, the Hebrew Israelites, and they haven't Ghana haven't converted, or they haven't changed Ghana. You get too paranoid over religion business.
You have to now. You have to.
Hold on, let me pass it.
Because people subscribe to all kinds of stuff.
Hold on. Africulture concepts. Go ahead. Africulture concepts. Unmute yourself. Africulture concepts. Unmute yourself. Okay, going once, going twice. All right.
Hey, Donis, let me ask Ben and Ashab Ram, whatever. Are you guys, so what you feel about Palestine and Israel going on? You gonna fight to protect your motherland, Israel? Are you guys going over there?
We're not supposed to do that.
Well, why not?
Well, even look at us. We don't even have power, like the scriptures say, like the histories say. We don't have weapons. We don't have any
y'all don't got weapons.
Well, if you did, would you go and protect them?
No, we didn't have. We don't have nothing like the.
If you did, would you go and protect them?
You guys hold on. So you guys want to embody the spirit of David?
We have
went against Goliath.
We having two different conversations. Now, hold on. Second Exodus is our brother as relates to we're both Israelites. We don't know him, but we have a different perspective because we are in it. We are in the land of Israel. Been there for 50 plus years. So we have a different responsibility, and we have a different narrative. So you asked a good question. Asaf, you want to answer that, or you want me to answer?
Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't finished.
No, no, but he
asked me a question.
I asked Ben and I asked me and Steve Rom. I didn't ask two Exodus.
Yeah.
I asked second.
That's fine.
So to answer your question, brother, we have in our community, we enrolled into the Israel Defense Forces in the early 2000s. So we have sons and daughters that are fighting right now as we speak in the
see what I mean?
Israel Defense Forces.
You see exactly what I mean? You see what I mean?
You asked me a question.
Oh yeah, you're right. I apologize. You're right. I'm sorry.
You asked me a question, right?
Yes, sir.
So now, as relates to that, again, everything from 50 plus years ago when we started on this path of reawakening, it's been there in African American history. You have different groups of people for hundreds and hundreds of years who have kept the tradition of the Hebraic faith and the Hebraic understanding, the Hebraic culture. So one of our spiritual leader, right, who gathered us in the 1960s, in that particular time, we understood that our mission is a prophetic mission and is working out. We are living the prophecies that are stated and is working out in the favor as relates to the Creator said how it was going to work out, that land will be restored to us. Now, there's only one way to prove this. Either we're going to look like a fools and we're going to have to just be like, you know what? You're absolutely right, bro. Show me how to be, show me my Yoruba culture. Or it's going to play out, or it's going to play out as the prophecy stated. But and reading the prophecies and reading that book, the historical understanding and the historical, facts that we have shown, and not just shown, but we know to be connected to us. Now, again, it's going to play out. So we don't really got to spend too much more time arguing about it. It's going to play out, and we're going to either be fools or we're going to end up being the prophecies were right, and we are the people of the prophecies. That's all the way. It's only two ways.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
I agree.
Hey, well, hold on. Let me read these super chats. Shout out to Queen Candace. Dignity, respect, and love is accepted everywhere. Sorry if I missed a couple super chats.
I
read all gas, no breaks. JB, questions for the Israelites. Y'all claim that Black Americans are from Judah. How do y'all know that?
Well, number one, we don't claim that all Black Americans are from Judah. That's not our claim. We say that many of the tribes that were taken out of West Africa, some of those people that were taken are people that were in the Northeast Africa region, that in 70 AD, when the Roman Empire came into Jerusalem and destroyed the temple, that we had to flee. Where did we flee? Well, being African people, we would not flee north because, number one, that's where the enemy is coming from. So we're not going to flee to Europe. Some of us fled east. The majority of us fled south and mostly west and southwest, okay, where we ended up on the shores of various countries or nationalities as it relates to West Africa, and we were indentured servants because we were not native to that land. So because of that, when the Europeans came and said, hey, we need people to work this new land, quote unquote, that we have, and we have something in exchange for. It was an easy give up because we were not native to that land, but they didn't understand.
Oh, thank you.
I'm getting headaches from this,
what they were selling us to. But that's what happened. So that was a proportion of us, and then you also had other African nationalities that was also
okay. So my question, hold on.
Did you get
I need to finish reading these super chats. All right.
Okay.
JB, Long Ola, I've seen people with similar beliefs as Hebrew Israelites in the Congo, but they have a different name. Let me see here. Let me scroll up because I missed some of these super chats. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't want you guys mad at me. Come on. I wish there was a way you could just.
I think Zango sent you super chat as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. That's the thing. I'm trying to find it. Hey Zango, why don't find your super chat? Here we go. Zango native. I'm Ghanaian. British conquered the Ashanti Kingdom in Kumasi. They sent King Nana Prempeh to Seychelles, and years later he came back a Christian. That's true. Let's see here. Let me put on the screen though. Zango native. Thank you. And then let me find. Oh, here go the super chats right here, all in one convenient, different area. Here we go. Okay. JB, we got you. We got Mustafa. Okay, we're good to go. All right, go ahead and
yeah.
Hello.
I wanted to take on. I wanted to take something. I said something earlier on about soft power. You see what the gentleman just confessed to, that they went and registered into the Israeli Defense Force years ago. Do you see them registering to defend any African country? Their own bloodline. They are not. They are defending another group. This is the problem. And when I was telling you that, when I was saying this, this is the kind of stuff that weakens our communities all the time. Our people are just there to serve other people. And this is it's a kind of psyop, really. There is no evidence that this happens historically. Only our people just come around and just claim that they are part of another culture, which is weird.
But Dynas, my brother, my thing is, this is their own faith and belief. I don't think we should hold that against them if they decide to go fight for Israel.
Oh no, definitely no. I totally agree with that.
A place to be.
I think we should. You know why?
I will.
Because the Bible is a war book. You know what I'm saying? You telling they believe they are the chosen people.
But if you're doing it for religious reason, what I'm trying to say, if you're doing it for religious reason, do it. But don't
If
do
it,
it
if
for
no,
a
no, no, don't
racial
say that.
reason.
If it's
They
a
don't think
problem,
And
you
like
have to
that.
pretend.
call it out. If it's a problem, you have to call it out.
No,
If
but
it's
if
not a
that's what you
problem,
want,
let's say they are practicing this religion or this culture, and they go and register to defend Ghana, and they go and do all the stuff they are doing. They want to do for Israel for Ghana. Then it's not a problem. But when it's a problem, you have to call it out because it's
But
contradicting
again,
But the
yours.
problem that you
Can
have
anyone
here
hear me?
is
I don't see
the
Jews coming
problem
to
that you
sign.
have is
I don't see Jews coming to sign to defend this
no,
African
but this
culture.
is what
If
you are
anything,
missing. They already took very different stance. One, they believe that Israel is
Hello?
part of Africa. They believe
that is
that
not the
Israel is
issue.
part of
That's a
Africa.
geographical
Oh,
They
discussion.
believe Israel is black. They
okay.
believe so you can't. So what they
yeah.
believe in
Yeah,
is
Hello?
you can't.
Idris,
Hello?
Hold on one mic, but Idris,
I mean,
the
I
people,
disagree with it, but that's their
Idris,
belief.
Idris.
Yeah.
The problem is the people currently occupying Israel. Like, okay, Netanyahu is not who leads the Israeli Defense Forces, not an African man, or is he? Do you guys consider
Is
him to
he an
be
African
African?
man?
Asaf, you had something to say?
yeah, I
No,
Is
did.
no.
he
Yeah.
African? Yahoo, is
Is
he an
he African?
African
I'm
man?
I'm
sorry.
gonna
Is he
answer your
African?
question. Netanyahu is not African, but Netanyahu's coalition government was the one that got Africa a seat on the African Union. So Israel is in the African Union as an observer.
No,
A moving
And
actually,
where's
participant.
Haiti?
no.
Is
Israel is
Haiti
not
part
part
of
of the
this too?
African Union. Where
Is
did he
Haiti?
get all
Who
these
care about the
facts from?
African
No,
Union?
but
Is
there
I'm
was
Haiti
making a
part of
point.
it?
Tunisia.
Is
I'm
Haiti
making a
part of it?
point.
Israel was part of the African Union years ago, and
No.
one of their
They were
president
in
pointed out.
observer. There was as an
So,
observer status.
Recently there was as observers. Yes,
so
recently
now
there was,
listen.
but there
They were
was
not.
they,
They were
they
never
Hello?
part of the
Hey,
African Union.
no, there
Mainly,
was they
hey,
had a seat. They had a
So
seat
Tonight,
there
y'all
years
missing
ago.
the point. Y'all
They
to my
had a
missing the
seat
brother
there
point.
years ago.
Tonight,
The
to my
point,
brother
the
tonight.
point of me making that statement
Oh,
was
man.
simply to demonstrate the knowledge base of the leadership of the state that Israel is in
Is a
fact
part of the
a
African.
part of Africa. That was the
Now,
whole point
Well,
of
now
me
can
making
anyone
that
hear
Tunisia,
me?
statement.
Tunisia,
but
Nah,
that
my,
is not the
bro.
my,
point.
Listen,
My
listen,
point,
listen.
Tunisia,
my own issue is that, and which I suspected right from the beginning,
I
is that
Tunisia,
understand what
Tunisia.
Tunisia
if
is
you
saying
people
is you're not
sign on
getting
to
you're
other
not
groups
getting
Take
all
him
the
to
Tunisia's
time,
Tunisia.
point.
you
You're
would
not
Tunisia.
getting
rather run
Tunisia's
to
point.
join other groups all the
Hey,
time
Tunisia.
hey,
instead of
let
joining
me
your own
get
group.
it. Hold on, hey, T Nigel, hold on.
Hello?
Hold on. Israel just got suspended from the African Union.
Yes, they
Yeah.
recently did.
Hold on. Well, originally T. Go ahead, originally T.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. I'm usually very shy. I listen a lot and I don't usually come online and speak, but I must say that for brothers to come together and speak in this way, it's positive. But at the same time, I'm in so much pain hearing certain brothers speak. I'm from Sierra Leone myself, and I hear some Sierra Leonean brothers speaking there, and a Nigerian brother as well. My heart is even palpitating right now because of the level of ignorance we have. I'll start like this. I used to have dreadlocks, and this African elder said, "Oh, why you think you're Jamaican, huh? You think you're Jamaican?" And I just shook my head because I knew this elder had no knowledge of his African heritage, and this is a big issue we are facing. The point I want to start off by saying this, yeah? The first humans on the planet are black people. Okay? What does that mean? Let's use logic. That means that we are the first to populate everywhere else. So I'm going to put a theory out there that I know is factual. Whether you want to agree with me or not, you go do your research. Every single continent, Asia, what they call the Middle East. The Middle East from where? Is the Middle East from Italy? Okay, because of the Roman Empire at that time. Okay, anywhere, South America, the first people to populate those places were Africans that migrated there. Okay, if I'm no longer religious, right? But I believe in spirituality. However, if you look at the Bible, read the Bible, it speaks of Nimrod. Yeah. Nimrod came from the land of Cush, right? Now I heard some brothers saying, "Oh, Iraq, the Africans were not, never were in Iraq. They're different people." No, I heard another brother say the tectonic plate is the same. What you need to realize is
the map of Africa we're seeing now was devised by non-Africans. Africa extended all the way to there. That's a fact. Whether you want to talk about tectonic plates or not, we're talking about Africans populating Africans living there.
Where did he just make
Nimrod.
Oh my goodness.
Nimrod, make all these
Jesus
claims.
Christ.
Okay, I'll prove it to you. Hold on. What do you
Nigel,
mean?
let the man finish.
What claim? What claim are you talking about? And I'll answer your claim.
No, Dynast, wait. Let him talk.
One by one.
I want this dude to finish. Goodness, let me bring it.
One by one, what claim are you talking about? Because if you're talking about the first humans to populate the planet, do you really want to dispute that? If you're talking about Nimrod coming from the land of Cush being the first king there, do you want to dispute that? It's in the Bible, but yet you will gladly go to church on Sundays and pray to God to provide and pray for blessings, but you don't want to believe in the word. You want to pick and choose what you want to believe from the scriptures, right? You said this is false, but that one is positive. The problem is we're forgetting our heritage. For example, the Ghanaians, yeah? We're talking about the Ashantis, the Fantis, they're the same. They're the Akans, yeah? They came from afar. They were not originally from Ghana. They landed in Ghana. At one point in time, they were even in Senegal before they moved down to Ghana. And the brothers, what they're saying is right. The last sacking was in 70 AD, but there have been lots of sacking from the days of Nebuchadnezzar. Right? The Israelites are spread throughout the world. So right now, you see them, through intermarriage, they've mixed, they come in different races, tones. But what you should not forget is within the continent itself, there are many Israelites there. In fact, if you look at all colonial maps, this is where we as Africans, we need to educate ourselves. When the Israelites when these Americans, the Black Americans say we Israelites, they're not trying to say that we don't relate to Africans, that we are not proud of our African heritage. They're trying to tell you that Black culture spreads farther than what we perceive to be Africa today. That's what they're trying to say. They're not trying to take away that I'm not proud of my heritage. Okay? If you look at the old colonial map, hold on.
Yeah, I don't
last
think
point. I will not take up your time. I will not take up your time. I promise. If you look at the old colonial maps, yeah.
My Salon brother, I think you didn't miss the point.
No, I not miss the point. La don, I beg. If you look at the old colonial maps, yeah. If you look at the old colonial maps, you will see that the colonial masters, they themselves put in West Africa, certain places, they're Judea.
No.
Yes.
Where?
Yes.
Yeah, they
do.
It doesn't exist.
I tell you, look at all colonial maps. It's why will you dispute something that's there? If you look at all colonial,
I don't know how people get away with this.
I don't understand.
They just let them get away with making
No.
claims.
Do you know?
Yeah, come on. I was vibing. Oh man.
Who is this Sierra Leone guy? Please, just keep quiet.
Hold on.
No. UFC, don't come. No, UFC, no. Don't come here like that.
What you're saying is
UFC, don't come here like that. Let the guy finish.
Hold on. You're asking for proof. I'm telling you, all colonial maps from the 1600s. Yeah. If you look at it, you will actually see the right in Ghana, in places like Ghana. You see the right there, Judea, because why?
Post the map. I know this very well. I know this very well. This topic very well. Post the map.
I'll find the map and post it on this forum. Yeah, I will do that. But what I'm saying to you is, right? We need to learn our own history, because people are just saying they're just knocking out what the brothers are saying, just nonchalantly. But you need to realize that the first people to populate the planet are Black people, and if we're the first to populate, that's our history. The Bible is actually talking about our history.
So now say the confusion.
Why don't you go and serve Europeans?
So now say the confusion.
Europeans are Black people too.
Now say the confusion come out.
Hold on. I'm currently calling from England. Yeah, and the first people in this country are Black people.
we are talking from a different context. You are talking about something that
This
happened
somebody
100 and
else
something
talk,
thousand
bro.
years
I'll
ago.
listen to you. What context are you talking from? Because
We are
I've been
talking
listening
about
for a
from
while.
the last 4,000, 6,000 years ago. You're talking about something that happened 100 and something thousand. Are you a
No.
European? Are you saying a black man is a European now?
Hold on. You're
Hey,
talking about
he makes a
talking about
point.
Israelites, yeah? You're
Makes a
talking about
point. He
Israelites.
makes a
But
point.
my brother,
Are
you
we
said
European now?
you said colonial map from the 1600s. Colonialism started in Africa in the 1700s. We cannot get colonial map from 1600s.
No. But the point, but Two Nigers made a great point. So, are we the original Antarcticans, like from Antarctica? Like, should we be claiming Antarctica now? See, you're gonna open up a can of worms.
Like that.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Hey, Prince. Prince, I got a question.
You have to
what's your
contextualize
question?
what you are
I'll
talking
answer your
about. You can't
question.
just make blanket statements.
No, this is not a blanket
Finance,
statement. You ask me the question, I'll
finance,
answer you.
finance. What is going on here is that instead of us as a race to build our continent, we are forcing ourselves to attach ourselves to people who have already built their society.
Exactly.
No, Dynas, there are a few points I wanted to poke on his argument. The thing about Africa.
Let me interject. UFC, hold on. UFC, I'm gonna pass it back to UFC. You guys, let me first read these super chats. 253, Uncle Reggie 609. The problem is our people don't study the origins of what they practice. All the major religious roots are in Zoroastrianism and Egyptology. Next super chat. Since tribe is French, tribu, why us? The title. Chimamadu, Netanyahu's family was from freaking Poland. Benjamin betrayal. Jeremiah said another Ark of the Covenant will not be made. So whenever the Zionists put another in Solomon's temple, they will make Jeremiah false. Now, UFC super fan, you make a good point because I was having a conversation with my Ghanaian friend.
Yep.
And she was like, the reason why Black Americans are claiming to be Native Americans, Aboriginal to America, and Hebrews is because the United States of America and Israel are viewed as two of the most powerful countries in the world.
Yep.
And Black people want to be, you have certain demographics of Black people that want to be attached to that power. And they want to be a part of the winning team. She said that.
Yeah, right. That's what we are doing here. Instead of us to build our continent and create businesses that will spread across, we are here debating. Did you think these people care about us? Just imagine if it was a black country that's being attacked. You think they will say anything? They will keep quiet. Look at all the celebrity, all the famous people. They all keep their mouth shut because you know why? The Jewish people have already bought the politicians, almost everybody in the United States and across the world. Everyone is just imagine. Everyone just kept quiet. They are bombing these people. No one speaks.
They act as if this is not consequential. Some of them, when I was saying it earlier on, Al was saying that I should leave it. Then the guy went on and said that he has already joined the this in the Israeli military. That shows you it's consequential.
No, I'll respond back to you, Tunisia. Tunisia, here's the deal. Listen to me as it relates to this. What I'm explaining is that yes, we may be in the same place, but two people can be in the same place with two different purposes. Our prophetic purpose is returning back to our homeland to then get back the power so that we can help African people and the rest of humanity by the moral codes and conducts that was given to us to help people know how to live, how to treat your brother, how to.
If you want to help Africa, set up business that will spread across.
What I'm saying,
let him finish.
You don't have to tell me that, brother. You don't. I'm not talking from theory. We already are helping our brothers and sisters in Africa because we're African. Our name is the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. We know and claim that Israel is Africa, is African people, and we're just another tribe in Africa that has a particular purpose that is maybe different than another tribal man. It don't make us better. It don't make us worse. It makes us different, and we have a different destiny. We're not trying to claim to be anybody else's but ourselves. And the fact of the matter is that even a lot of European historians know that those people, as the brother said, he made a good point. And y'all didn't listen to what he said. If we were the people, original people of this earth that everybody understands and knows, we populated everywhere, and most of the organized cultures, most of the organized contributions that came from organized people came from African people. Israelites was just one of them. That's
You know
all.
what's crazy?
But we are not arguing that. The argument that
No.
the
I think
point.
you can argue that. You can actually argue that. See,
No,
hold on.
hold on.
You can't just you can't just make a statement and you say you can argue that because it's a
Okay,
fact that
hold on.
things change.
I'm not arguing from the point of view that Africa was the original place of the inception of human beings. I believe that. I believe the first human beings are from Africa. I believe migration over time populated the world. I believe that. But the
He's going
point
on
that we
to
are
say that those
disagreeing
people remain
here.
Africans. He's going on to say that those people remain the same
Oh
as
man, let
Africans
the
today.
guy finish, to Nigel.
No, but I'm trying to add context now.
No,
I'm
but
trying
I
to add
want to hear the
context to the
guy.
statement.
Let him finish.
Yeah, that guy Nick, dog.
Go ahead.
Tunaja, let him talk, man.
I do believe that African peoples were the one that populated the earth. I believe a lot of tradition, cultures, and even religion are things that have been derived from African cultures. But this is my point. The idea of Africa came at some point in the time of man. It did not it was not an original name for Africa. The name Africa came from somewhere else, right? These are things that we derive. The colonialism started 1700 and forward. So 1600, we cannot get maps from colonial maps. So that is wrong.
Okay, sorry.
But
I
the
don't mean to
idea
interject.
of
The map is 17. You're right. It's 1747 British map. If you actually go on Google, they sell it for £77. Yeah.
All right,
It's
let me
there.
continue.
It shows West Africa, and it tells you exactly what I'm saying to you. 1774.
Okay,
British
hold
map.
on. Let me finish.
Put the link in the private chat, and I'll explain it to you. Or go ahead, Idris.
Yes, I get your point. The point that we are disagreeing here is after the inception of Israel, after all the years of the issues that went through that region, when the Romans came in the 1770 AD, after the death, the end of the basically that empire, we want to say people went up in different parts of the world. The Hebrew Israelites here are arguing that, so we are talking from that point. We are not talking from the origin of man. I get your point on that. If we're going to argue that, then we're going to mix everything up. Let's argue on what the facts are laid down to us. They said it's from that point. So
do you know
that's
what my
what we
problem
are
with that
disagreeing
is?
with.
Do you know what my problem is with that is? My problem with that is a stolen culture and a heritage. I'll give you an example in Africa because a brother made an important point saying we need to build our continent. So let's look at our continent, Africa, right now. We're being squeezed up top, pushed down by the so-called Arabs, yeah, where Egypt, Mauritania, all these northern African countries we no longer occupy. And if you tell somebody from Egypt that Egypt is once black owned and black built, they will tell you that you're lying. They will laugh at you. Okay, this is our continent and we're losing it. We've lost about a third of our continent, right? A third.
Where did you get the idea of continent? That's what I'm trying to ask. Where did you get the idea of continent?
This is semantics now. I mean, this is
That's what I'm saying. It's semantics. Let's accept what we have now and argue from that point. We argue
the Finnish North Africans are not Arabs neither. Just to remind you, North Africans are Amazon.
It doesn't matter, but they're not. They're not black.
They are mixed race children. We're North African, like the Berbers,
go talk
the
to a North
Amazigh.
African and ask them if they are mixed. They will tell you. Do you know they identify themselves as Arabs before any skin color?
That's because of religion. That's because of religion.
That's like you saying you go in Johannesburg and they're saying they're yes, white people in Johannesburg now, but it doesn't mean that in the times that we're speaking
exactly
of,
my point.
It was not like that.
Genetically, Berbers only have like 5-10% Middle East. Most of their genetic is actually Mediterranean and West African.
I agree, but that's my point. My point is, if you tell them that, for example, black people built the pyramids, they will be laughing at you.
And Semites, they have Semite. They have a very strong Semite also.
That is my point. In Africa today, if you tell them that this is
what
our land,
now me man now tribe come on now which I tribe if you know
me na Konoman.
okay, you see most of the people away la tell you this, yeah. Most of the people away you see na West Africa they get that Jewish.
Please let's speak English so the others understand.
Okay, most of our people in that region have Semite DNA in them. Most of them, because of especially the Fuller and the Mande group, we have a strong Semitic because of those brothers in the north. Remember, those people are the one that push us further down as you're speaking, and we are happen to be one of the few tribes, the Fuller, the Bambara, and like some of the Soninke that still remain up there, as you're speaking, and we're still mixing with them and intermarrying with them. This is a process that's been happening. However, to claim to be a race, of that region, when we know, you look at these brothers, right? What I'm trying to look at, the Limba people then, the Limbas are the first people in Salon, and they got Jewish DNA in them. Yeah, and if you look at the Limba, they're more African than the rest of us put together, right? Because I know I know how Kono people look. In fact, my one of my uncles married a Kono woman. I know Kono very well. Yeah, and
what's your point?
But what I'm trying to say is we have this genetics before these brothers had this genetic before they was captured as slaves to the Americas. It's not because they belonged to
everybody
certain
came from Africa.
Hebrew.
Yeah,
no, but listen,
no.
Oh
my God.
You don't have to go that far. Yeah.
Why is everybody struggling to explain this to them? He keeps coming back over and over again, and I'm not allowed to talk.
To Niger, you should show these guys the genetic patterns of West Africa.
It's ridiculous, man. This is just lame conversation, really. People just keep making pronouncements without no logic at all.
Yes, you need to show them the genetic patterns.
If you are making that kind of argument, then you are saying we are Europeans too. When people left the continent, they changed. They have, because of genetic variation. When you have children, there is an alteration.
Yes,
every child you have,
I get your
time,
point. So
they
answer my
transform
question.
to other people.
So answer this question. You know the Jews that live in Israel right now, that look different from us, What makes them the authentic Jews? What makes them?
Because
there's continuity.
They're the people that left years ago.
Well, this is where you're not.
They left years ago and they settled to that part.
It's a religion. There's continuity.
No, it's not. This is the problem. It's a culture. It's a culture.
No, it's a culture. It's also a religion.
You're interchanging Israelites and Jews. That's one.
No, you asked about Jews.
Two, you got Ashkenazi Jews, and they're called that for a specific reason because they're different.
You are right. There are different types of Jews, but
Ethiopian Jews, they are still Jews.
What you need to understand is
because Judaism is a religion, it's not a race on its own.
And the brother just called in from Israel to make that point clear to these guys, but they're still going on and on and on.
Brother, he doesn't speak for. He doesn't speak for.
He's an occupier. He's an occupier.
He contributed.
No, he's not an occupier. He said he went there 15 years ago. How can he be an occupier?
No.
Exactly.
He moved there.
Just mind your language, guys. Yeah. Just mind your language. Mind your language. Brother, be careful here because you know the sister in the palace in Paris. Yeah.
No. Listen, I am not. This is no extremism.
Let's be careful what we say. We are on somebody's platform.
No, put yourself in trouble.
Not you. We are on somebody's platform.
I respect the brother. No, listen. Let me clarify myself.
Okay.
The people. This is a fact. The people invaded us. People in Egypt today are not the original Egyptians. They invaded us. It's the same thing I'm telling you that the people that are currently in Israel. They invaded.
Yes. Okay, let me contextualize this a little bit. The people that founded Egypt, yes, they were Africans and they were black.
Same thing.
But they are more like the East Africans and the Nilotics that you see in in that region right now. They've not even left. They are still there. And what happened in Africa is that during the time when Egypt was being founded, most of the Sahara was still green. We thought it was desert at that time, but it wasn't. Evidence shows that it was still green. But the Sahara started losing its vegetation and started pushing people and it's still happening till today. The kingdom of Kush that we know of in the Bible and in the history that actually fought the Romans 2,000 years ago and all the rest of it. If you go to where their kingdom used to be, it's desert now. because we are being pushed southwards, while the north is open for foreigners to move into Africa. That is a trend. That's why you keep seeing kingdoms keep coming to Africa, defeating in North Africa, while they are actually being disconnected from the main hinterland of the African continent. The trend still carries on. That's why you see the pressure of in the Sahel and in Nigeria, all those places, you are having that same problem. So I don't understand. We should just look at it from that context. And okay, yes, it's black people that founded the kingdom, but right now, a lot of people have come in from the north. For thousands of years, they've been flowing in from the north, and they push. Today, if you go to the south of Egypt, you see that they are mostly dark in the southern part of Egypt. So we are still there. It's just that the dominant group right now are the ones that are coming from outside for hundreds
so
of
I only got
thousands
one
of years.
question for you, brother, because what you're saying is logical to me. So my only question to you now, based on what you're saying, is: do you agree that our culture has been stolen?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know whether it's stolen or appropriated. It's just what people do.
Either way. Well, these brothers are now saying, since our culture is stolen, we identify with that culture.
No, they did not say that. You are wrong. They did not say that.
No, I didn't say that, because what I said was that, see,
don't recant from that.
Judaism and the Israelites are on the northern side of Egypt. They are not in the hinterland of Africa. This is what I find peculiar.
No, but Tunaja, they're not even saying that. They're not even claiming that they identify. No, they did not say that. They said they are. Identifying could be like what the Jewish guy just spoke about earlier. That we identify.
Do you want me to tell you why they say they are? Because there has been many sackings. The last sacking was in 70 AD. They came into Africa. Most went to South Africa. They spread all over Africa.
No, what I'm asking you, my brother, is you tell me which tribe in West Africa that identify with Israel.
Hold on, listen.
Please let him finish. Let him finish.
They came to West Africa. Yeah, and this is where the prophecy came true, because during the slave trade, not only the indigenous...
You just made a leap. Were they practicing religion in West Africa? In other parts of Europe, they practice the same religion throughout. But in Africa, they didn't.
No.
It didn't exist.
I'm coming to the point. During the slave trade, they did not only enslave the Africans, they also enslaved the Israelites. That you cannot distinguish from the Africans by just looking at them, because we've always been looking like the same people. We've always been the same.
My brother, can you please tell me where you read that from, or you are just doing logic?
Absolutely. Listen, even from biblical records, when you understand about, remember, many people in the biblical records, they fled to Egypt. If you're admitting that Egypt were black people, they fled and hid in Egypt because we were the same people. What distinguished us was our culture. But you look the exact same.
Northern Egypt, let's not get it twisted. Northern Egypt was mixed. If you look at the Nama tablet, if you go and look at the Nama tablet itself, the very first king of Egypt, you will see the distinction between the northern Egyptians and the southern Egyptians.
For you to be,
I think that's later. That's later on.
That is about over 4,000 years ago.
I think you're an intelligent. Brother, but the fact that we now all of a sudden, when it comes to the Egyptian and the Israelite cultures, that now all of a sudden they were mixed. You know, one pharaoh was black, the other one was mixed, the other one was light skin, the other one was white. No, bro, there's no. Even America, as liberal as it is, you have one black president and the rest of them were white. When Saudi Arabia, it's the Saudi royal family, the House of Saud that rules. In Iran, it's the same class that rules.
You just
jumped. Yes,
this is what I call shuffling. Go and check the Nama tablet. You will see the difference between both sides.
Yes, they did. During the Roman Empire, during the Roman Empire, they have different color people in there as leaders.
Check Nama palette
during the Roman Empire.
No, but listen.
What about the
so
Nama
you are
palette?
wrong.
The Nama palette, Nama looked more African than the northern Egyptians. Go and check the Nama tablet. That was over 4,000 years ago. Look at the tablet. There is evidence there telling you what was going on the ground. And that is why you see people flowing in from, even in the Bible, it shows that people are flowing in from outside Africa all the time.
Yes, because of the position of Egypt, it was the center of the world. Because at that time,
and the Egyptians classified them. Egyptians told you how they looked. Egyptians drew it. They showed you that they looked lighter than they are. They told you, the Egyptians told you that these people that come from the Middle East, they look lighter than we are.
Hold on. Civilization starts from upstream and goes downstream. The River Nile comes from two sources.
You are
From
just
Uganda.
this is the shuffle again. You just went to a totally different point.
No. You from Uganda and from Ethiopia. Yeah, the white and the blue Nile. Okay, so we know that the ancient Egyptian civilization is heavily influenced by Kushite civilization. Okay,
yes,
who are black people. Okay,
yes,
and the Nubians.
Yes, that I agree with you. They are right there. They are still there today.
Let's look at the world power today. Yeah, the world powers today. Let's look at England and America, for example.
Zango, take care, Zango.
Hold on. England and America. What's happening now? It's been you get people for economic reason influxing in there. So you're gonna have a lot of multiculturalism going on.
Yes.
So the same thing happened in Egypt. It was the center of the world, right?
That's true. I agree with you on that.
African civilization got there where everything in terms of technology was pulled all the way up to Egypt because it went downstream. Civilization comes from upstream, it goes downstream. Now you have people influxing for education and all this reason. You're gonna expect intermingling of cultures and different people coming in. It's obvious the Greeks came to get educated there. So what do you expect?
No, but we're not. I don't think I am denying that, my bro. But I think there's a bit of confusion in the communication.
If you want to look,
because we've moved away from the point of argument. Now we are talking about 4,000 years ago.
That's right.
What we've been arguing on was after 2,000 years ago. So we are now moving to 4,000 years ago history because of what my Sierra Leone brother just brought up. So now we've conflated the whole argument. There is no argument anymore. Now we just arguing on different facets of time.
You can. That's your own opinion because from what they've said several times, black people populated the world, so everybody is black.
But that's what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to correct here is the initial point here was that the Hebrew Israelites 70 years after the death of Christ, when the Romans conquered Jerusalem, these people scattered all over the place, and some proportionate population of them went to West Africa. That's the point we are disagreeing with.
Okay, let's get something straight. Let's get one thing straight first. This one has to be straight.
Yes.
When they went to West Africa, were they practicing Judaism?
But that's what there is no history of.
Like the ones that went to Europe, like the ones that went everywhere else. Were they practicing Judaism?
I'll answer it. There's historical evidence in various places throughout different places, even throughout Europe and Portugal, because there was remnants.
I'm talking about West Africa.
I know. Let me explain what I'm saying to you.
Didn't you listen in Portugal? Where you trying to claim about Port? Now you're trying to go to a different territory now. Now you're going from the east to the west.
We said, bro, listen to what I said. We got scattered around the four corners of the earth. We got scattered.
Did you remember? Did they practice Judaism in West Africa? Is there any evidence of that?
To Niger, let me tell this guy one thing. Did you remember what I said earlier?
Yes, we did. Absolutely, yes.
However, I don't know any culture that practices Judaism in West Africa.
Yes, different ruling nations that we were indentured servants to. That was an issue to practice our culture, so we had to suppress it in many different places that we went.
Wow.
So that's why
Europe,
I said the
that
name
is even more brutal. In Europe, that is even more brutal. Judaism survived, but they were feeding them to lions for crying out loud.
Not Judaism, brother. Not Judaism. That we got speaking different. Listen, the Judaism.
Israelites. Let's say Israelites.
Okay, you want to call it Israelites from 2,000 years ago? The ones that left this in Jerusalem and went to Europe and other parts of the world, they stuck to their beliefs. They didn't change it. So how is it that the ones that came to Africa, and remember, some of them also went to Ethiopia, they remain the same.
People are still practicing it
but
today.
Somehow the ones that went to West Africa are the ones that are different.
People are still practicing it today.
Exactly.
Where in West Africa?
Are you serious?
Like the Lembi tribe. I'm not talking about
the Lembi tribe of Cameroon. I understand the Lembe or whatever they call them.
I'm gonna say this, and then Donnie, if you still there, I'm a man. I gotta get some.
I don't know African.
We're gonna close out shortly. Okay, hold on. Let me read this super chat. I'll pass to you, Ryan. Okay. Ezekiel 40 to 48 is about a temple that will never be built, and Zionists don't care. They only care about the parts that will let them start World War III. All right, Uriah, you'll close out. We're going to close out.
To close out, you said where they still practicing it. Again, one of the most significant where European Jews and all other people have came. The reason why the Igbos are a wonder is because they're like, oh, wow, where are you getting this from? Their Rabbi Harry Rosenberg is a rabbi who's dedicated to going to different places in Africa, showing in West Africa and other places of different Israelite customs being practiced for thousands of years. They can trace their history. But then when I say the Igbo, then, Dinas or whoever and other people, oh, well, the Igbo, they're just a small. You're gonna dispute it. But I'm saying to you that it's a fact that still to this day, right now, people are practicing it. Right now, to this day. And
there's no evidence.
It's whether you believe what, brother, are you out of your?
There are people that speak like Chinese language in Nigeria right now. Maybe they copied it from us in the first place. Are you just assuming that what you are seeing right now is Judaism? Have you ever thought about it like that?
And
there are people that speak like Chinese language in Nigeria right now.
The people tell you that they are Jews. They tell you that. So why are you disputing it?
Listen,
you've not bothered to think about it from the point of view that maybe they just copied some of our culture and codified it into a religion, like they copied from Sumerian religion and Egyptian one.
What evidence do you have of that? What evidence?
Because they never practice it like Judaism or anything resembling the Israelite this thing. It's just like
do you know that?
I know
because we've never read of that in any history book.
Let me tell you how I know. Let me tell you how I know.
Because they are giving us. Okay, so you're telling me.
They said, hold on, let me finish my point. They said the similarity is that they have circumcision, they have all this. I said, but why don't you flip it on his head that maybe they copied it from us? Our ancestors have been here for thousands of years. They just copied the stuff. The religion, they copied it from us. In the first place, what you are seeing is something that we already practice. Now we are thinking that they gave it to us.
No,
how is that even possible?
I'm saying that we originated. That's the point of what I'm making it.
You are flipping it on his head. You are saying that we are the ones there. They are the ones that came and copied, just like they copied from Egypt. They copied from other people.
You said
no. You are saying you are them. They copied from you. You are saying you are them. That's
okay. So what's the issue with that?
You are not them. That's the point. You are the originator.
You don't know that, brother.
You are from the blood. See, your blood, the blood that flows in your vein tells the truth of who you are. You are the originator, and you are claiming to be the product.
You want to be something that he's not. That's a sad fact. But
you are giving up your own throne for crying out loud.
But
some other person's throne.
My brother, I think we need to read more. We all need to read more and research more. But
listen.
You can't just stop blindly like this.
I agree, but my Shalom brother, the only issue that I get with you a little bit is that whose history where you don't read? We are all from West Africa.
Okay.
Which history you don't read, or any tribe where you feel they don't practice it?
But
anything Judaism or
Hey, and let me give a shout out to
I just said it.
Hold on, let me give a shout out to Ronique Chambers, Ronique. I'm sorry, Ronique. Thank you for the $50 holla. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But hey, y'all, we're gonna close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. That is Search for Huru. Peace.
Thank you.
God bless you now. God bless you now, Miss Halum, brother.